Welcome back to the M3 podcast. This week we got Rick. You changed his name since last time.
It's new, yeah. I went with the Tony haircut, and then I dropped the Y, man.
So,
just Rick now.
I still call him Ricky, but we're going to go Rick. We got Dre. We got Tony on. This is number 2.
Yeah, man, I'm back.
Yeah, a lot of things have changed. How long ago was that first one? It's got to be a couple.
It was in the River Market. I'm guessing two and some months, maybe.
Yeah.
Probably about 2 years ago.
Yeah, a couple years ago for sure. Yeah.
So let's. I want to do a backstory. I want to kind of cover what's happened. We can do a quick backstory, what's happened over the last couple of years, and then dive into everything on the stronger movement.
Yeah, cool.
Okay.
So, for those of you that didn't watch the first one, where am I looking anyway?
You just look anywhere, just over yonder.
Anywhere. Here. Since the first story, let's back up. So my story is one of a kind of a dark past, a little bit of a checkered past, and so it's a good comeback story, kind of, and it's tough for me, like at the stage of my life that I'm in, it's really hard for me to tell this story as a comeback story because I feel like I'm still coming back.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm on the journey, right? And we'll get into some of that and some of the discussion later, but life is a journey, and so when I tell this story, I try not to seem arrogant or like I'm bragging, because I haven't arrived, by far, right? And I don't plan on ever arriving because that's when you're dead, right?
Yeah.
I want to arrive in heaven. That's where I'm trying to get to. So, but growing up, I was the youngest of 5 kids in Kansas City. We were born and raised my whole life here. Never have been able to get out of Kansas City, and quite frankly, don't need to. It's a good town,
Booming.
I love it here. I love it. Yeah, it's good place, good cultural values, moral values, ethical values, but yet, big enough, fast paced enough that you're exposed to life, So anyway, Kansas City's good. So youngest of 5 kids, full-blooded Italian family. We grew up in Raytown and went through public schools my whole life until high school, and then I got an opportunity to go to Rockhurst High School, and honestly, that was probably where things really kind of started taking a turn. But prior to that, at a young age, my parents were divorced. Never have hung on that. In fact, do you guys listen to Jordan Peterson? You ever listen to him at all?
Not a ton, but I've heard enough of his stuff.
Yeah. So one of the things that he said, I was listening to something yesterday where he mentioned that like one of the things you need to do as an adult is forgive your parents. Don't blame them. Just forgive your parents. They tried, right? And I can honestly say that, right? I've never had any resentment towards my mom, my dad. They divorced at a young age, and I'm sure, obviously, with psychology and everything that we know and the education that we have, that it impacts a kid, right? In their development, their upbringing, and everything. But I'm not blaming my parents for that, right? Even though it's probably a lot of the trajectory of the reasons why things happen, but nonetheless, I've grown to be able to make my own decisions, so I don't have to hang on that. But anyway, so parents divorced at an early age, and I was the youngest of 5 kids, and this next one up was 7 years older than me. So I always used to joke that I had 4 dads and 2 moms because I had brothers, So I think that more than anything impacted my rebellion, right? It's like everywhere I turn, I'm getting parented. I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'm doing my, no. No means yes. So, growing up in Raytown, running the streets, and, now I have 3 kids. I've got a 15-year-old, 14-year-old, and a 10-year-old, and they got a golf cart, and they're driving around the neighborhood and all that. And my wife's got them on Life 360, and, they're not. I'm like, gosh, man, I'm a bit of a terrible dad as a mom. Or I would have gave her an absolute heart attack because what I was doing at 10 and 11 years old, I'm gone at, in the summertime, I'm gone at sunup, and I mean, maybe coming at sundown if I was behaving that day, So, ran a lot, had a lot of freedoms and liberties. And I think that my son, we see it in him, you joke like your first kid is like, you're like helicopter parent, right? They bubble wrap them like, no, don't let them fall, and so we had the Juicy Couture diaper bag and all that stuff. And, each pocket had its own little container for the wipes and all that. And then second kid comes, we use the same bag, but you're ditching a couple of the containers, right? By the time my son came, man, we're in a Target sack, a couple my baby wipes in a diaper, and let's go. And we might forget one of those, you know what I mean? So me being the 5th kid, it's just like, hey, pulse check, you like, okay, good, go ahead. You know what I mean?
Still living. All right.
Shoot
we're
up a
doing
flare
good.
every now and again. Let us know you're here. Just do it. Like, So I ran hard as a young kid, right? And had a lot of fun, man. I mean, I had a ton of fun. But nonetheless, you leave a kid to his own devices, right? They're not going to make the best choices.
Yeah.
And I certainly, I wouldn't say that I had a tremendous amount of great role models that I was running with, and some by my choice too. That's usually the funner route, the more daring, stuff you're not supposed to do. And part of my rebellion, like I like to do the stuff you're not supposed to do.
Yeah. At that time, the learning phase and all that stuff isn't, you don't find, I feel like we're very similar in a very addictive personality.
Oh, yeah.
And I think sometimes we don't know where to point that. Like, I've pointed it the wrong directions before, and when I got to college, same kind of thing. Like, I'd always been like, my dad was the helicopter parent of me, and then Dre was just like, hey, just do your thing, buddy.
Right.
But it was like, so I've always looked at it as like, when I went to college, it was chains are off, full speed.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I didn't know where to, I was like, yeah. But as I've gotten older, it's like I point that addiction to a business towards what I want to do, towards relationships, towards those things, and I try to strive to be the best at those things. So I think at that younger age, you're not great at pointing that addiction the right way.
100%. It's raw horsepower, right? If you put a big old engine in a car and you don't put the right tires right, it's going to run into a wall, right?
Yeah.
And that's me, right? I was raw horsepower with no good direction whatsoever, and so I fed it what I wanted to feed it, right? And I didn't feed it anything, but we had a lot of fun, right? So, so I ended up, I think. If I were to blame my parents for anything, I sat across from my mom in a visitation. I went to prison. I'll kind of jump around the story here. So I went to prison. I was 22 years old. I got sentenced to maximum security penitentiary in Leavenworth, and my mom comes to visit me, and she sits across from me. And it's the first time because I was in a holding facility for 14 months, and we had to talk through glass. So when I got to the big prison, it's the first time we got to sit and hold hands. And she's holding my hand. She just looks at me, and I could just see this emptiness in her eyes. It's like, of disappointment in herself, right? And she's like, "What?" She goes, "What did I do wrong? Like, tell me what I did wrong." I said, "Mom, I've thought about this, and I can honestly say that the only real blame that I could probably give you and your dad is that you were too good of parents." And what I meant by that was they never really let me fail. You know what I mean? I got into a lot of mischievous trouble. Nothing really bad. I've never really been a bad person. I've never been an evil, cause harm, intentful. I didn't really go to do those. I was more self-destructive and just destructive in general, just being stupid, But I never had that evil, spiteful intentions, right? So Mom, you guys have just been too good of parents. You never let me fail. I'm talking as early back as I remember one of a big opportunity for me to really get in trouble that I didn't. It was my 8th grade year. We had a bus driver. We had a mean bus driver, and everyone hated her, right? And so me and one of my buddies, they lived in the next neighborhood over from us in some townhouses, and her son actually went to school with us, and we didn't really like him either, right? And so me and one of my buddies snuck out one night, and we went over to some girl's house in 8th grade year, right? How old are you in 8th grade?
14-ish?
14.
Okay, so
13, 14.
I was always young, so
yeah,
I was probably
think I was
13, maybe 12.
14, yeah. So, middle of the night, we're sneaking out of the house, going over to some girl's house, and on the way over, we stop at the bus driver's house, and she had a van, and we took this little garden gnome, threw it through the windshield of her van, let all the air out of all of her tires, and, just, screwed up the van. So we go do our
Just
thing.
on her passing by.
Yeah. It wasn't even our intention.
Casual stroll.
Hey, Marilyn's house is over here. Let's get her. So anyway, we go the next morning. We're going to school. Marilyn's gone. Got a substitute bus driver. We're like, we did that, right?
You're welcome,
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah. We're like, why Marilyn's not here? Because we made it so she couldn't be here.
There's a gnome driving her van.
Yeah, right. So of course, dumb us, because they put out like a $25 reward if anybody has any information. Our entire bus got paid.
Who is it? Them.
Yeah, right.
You're a bunch of narcs.
Dude, seriously. So we end up getting kicked out of school. So there's and mind you, I'm going to Rockhurst the next year. I've already been accepted. I'm on a full ride scholarship. I got a great scholarship with the Simone family, and thanks to them, that was a huge opportunity for us because my parents couldn't afford to send me to Rockhurst, but I got this opportunity. Well, there's 3 months left of the school year, right? I got to meet in front of the school board now because of this deal. Well, my dad goes in for me, and we end up, whatever happens in this deal, I'm expelled out of school for the rest of the year. I'm kicked out of the school district, right? But somehow, some way, we worked it out to where whatever my grades were, which were always really, really good, I was a good student just naturally. I was pretty intelligent without having to really work at it. At least at school, coloring in the lines and all that stuff, I was good. So anyway, they ended up stopping my transcripts at what my grades were and just sending those to Rockhurst, right? So
Just hit freeze on it?
hit freeze, right? And just send it. So here's my trouble. Here's my penalty. I got 6 months of summer before my freshman year.
And you didn't have to take finals.
I didn't have to do anything.
I win. I destroyed her car.
Lesson learned.
New bus driver right before I left.
So did you learn your lesson? Yeah. Destroy the van, no trouble. Call dad.
Worked out great.
We're good. So listen, at 13, 14 years old, those are, whether you're consciously forming those plans. I mean, I'm not really planning like that's a good route to go, right? But setting in my head, I've got there's no hot stove. That's one thing about me. I'm such a hard learner, man. You tell me the stove is hot, I'm going to tell you that I'm tougher than you. Your hot and my hot are different, right?
I'm trying it.
I'm trying it.
Yeah, right. Like, the crazy thing with my dad, my dad and I are both very hard-headed.
Yeah, no.
To where it's like we both like ran into each other all the time with whatever.
Dirk Moss?
Yeah. So, but I will say what I think has happened in younger generations now is I feel our generation is more of like there was the helicopter parents were coming in, and I think it happened a little bit before too. But then now you have these like more like bulldozer parents that the kids don't even get to step one.
Yeah, right.
So they don't have any idea of what like overcoming problems and coming up with solutions even looks like.
Right.
Where they hit the real world and all of a sudden they get hit with their first problem.
Mom.
And it's like, I have an anxiety attack at work because I got too many emails this morning.
Yeah, they're saying in schools now, anxiety is like the number one. Anxiety and depression is like the number one thing in these kids now.
But they don't get exposed to anything. And I remember like when our parents got divorced, my mom's side of the family said like that our dad raising us that we were going to be the worst kids. My mom's side of the family, we have 13 cousins on that side of the family. Half of them are in like, there's multiples that are in insane asylums, like padded rooms.
Wow.
There's multiple that are in jail. I don't know if there's one of them on that side that's made a name for himself doing anything.
I think
But
two of them were very intelligent. They were a little secluded from the rest of the family.
But regardless, like that whole side of the family, you just look at it as like a disaster. And because Dre and I are 5, 6 years old and we're watching South Park, and my dad's like, I'm not sheltering you guys from anything.
Right, you're going to hear it.
We saw all the things, we heard all the things, and we have cousins that are like 12, 13, and they're watching Barney still. And I'm like, that kid's going to be a psychopath. I'm like, that is messed up. I'm like,
Real world's going to hit him hard.
yeah. Guess what? That's not real. Like,
Yeah, I feel. Listen, I still see some child seat. I know there's laws and rules. I just can't get with some of the child seat rules.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, man, that dude's gonna be driving next year. You probably kick the child seat.
yeah.
You know?
Not tall enough yet. They're
but
staying.
That dude's 5'8", bro. Why is he in the child seat?
He's got a permit, man. He doesn't need the seat.
But yeah, I just think this like bulldozer parent movement that like kids just take on no problems, and
100%. Yeah, no doubt.
Dre and I learned so many things that our dad let us take things on. Like we'd have a problem, and like most of the time you go, our dad, he was always like, I was there to be your father, not your best friend. Mm-hmm. I feel like so many times parents, like there's times I literally would sit in my room, I was like, I fucking hate my dad.
Right.
I'd be so mad at him. And now I look back on it and like I saw how hard he was on me to where I'm at now.
Yeah.
And
Huge.
it was like when I went to college, I remember when I first met Madison, I'm like telling her about how my dad was like, and all the things he made me do out of the house and the work that we had to do all the time. And I'm like, he like slave drives us out there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is not right. I'm like, nobody else has this, okay?
I was like, turning him into child abuse.
Yeah, but it's like and she's like, she's sitting there. She's like, it can't be that bad, blah, blah, blah. And she showed up at my house. She's like, it's kind of bad. And now, as we've like progressed, I've told Mass, I'm like, we have kids. I'm like, I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah, right.
I go,
we're going to the field.
Yeah. I go, I don't care if they don't like me at the time. Their grown-up self will that person will love me. Yep. And I go, and they will thank me for what I put them through. Yeah, 100%. But I think nowadays it's now if like a child says like, oh, you're mean or whatever, like they just get their feelings hurt that like you have to be the parent figure to those kids. No
question. You know, we're getting off track, which is fine. I was talking to somebody about the I-9 sports, which, you know, God bless them. It's a great little organization to start kids, you know, fundamentally getting involved in team sports and all that. But they give away these medals to everyone. I'm like, I'm not doing the medal. I'm not doing it, man. Like, oh, you got not. You know, it's not. We don't do participation trophies. You win a medal for winning. Yeah. We didn't win. We didn't keep score.
That's kind of the point. That's why I practice to get better, so we can win.
Yeah, and so you know, I have, and then I was talking to somebody, and I'm like, you know, like the conversation comes up all the time. You hear it. Oh, these kids these days, they get participation trophies. I was like, and it hit me like 10, 11 bucks. My 6-year-old son didn't go asking for a medal. It was the lousy freaking parents that couldn't tell their kid why they didn't get a medal. So instead of putting the onus on the parents to explain to the kid, you didn't get a medal because you lost. You didn't compete hard enough. You didn't win. You don't get a medal, right? So instead, you just give them all medals. It ain't the kid. Don't blame these kids. Don't say these kids are soft. It's the parents that are soft that are allowing these participation trophies.
When Chloe is 15 right now, about to be 16. So we've grown up, right? Nick's like, I mean, high school, we were those
older brothers that essentially
also
two
fathers.
more dads.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
but I remember like when we go to gymnastic things and they would get done and all the girls are going up to get medals and it's like every one of them gets a medal for something. Yeah. My dad looks at Chloe, he goes, you ain't getting one of those.
Yeah.
And like every girl goes up and grabs one except for Chloe.
Yeah,
and he goes, when you win, you get a medal.
Yeah. Did you guys see my video with me and Tony? We're talking about going to state. Where he went. I did a video, and it's like my most traction video I have, you know, and that's just it, man. You know, he came. He's like, hey, Dad, can we go watch Z down in state? And I'm like, no. Like, number one, I'm not driving to Springfield to go watch some other kid. You know, sitting in a wrestling tournament all day long is grueling, right?
It is.
Even if it's your own kid.
I don't have a kid in this fight.
Yeah. And he's like, can we go out? I'm like, no. He's like, why? And I'm like, cuz, dude, we don't go watch other people at state. Like, you want to go to state, you make it to state. If you want to make it to state next year, I know how to do it. Yeah. It's like when we got practice on Wednesday and you don't feel like going, and you know, I'm trying not to force feed the sport down his throat because I don't want to burn him out, you know. Because I knew how I felt like that too. So I'm trying to like serve it up to him as he'll receive it. And so, hey man, if you want to go, like I know how to get you there. You know, I know what it takes to make it, you know. But yeah, we're not just gonna go watch somebody.
I think sometimes too, though, is like as a kid and like when I was younger, it took me tasting winning first, and it's like I saw the same thing happen with Chloe. It started off as fun, and then like our dad started pushing her on it. But then after she tasted winning and what that felt like, because once you win, you don't want anything else. Like, it's the competitor spirit in people that like it's addiction to winning.
There's no question.
So it's like, but sometimes I don't think parents push hard enough to get their kids to ever taste that and see what that's like, because then that's where that motivation, the drive comes when they're not doing that sport.
It's not about winning and losing. Well, then why are you keeping score?
Yeah.
It's absolutely about winning.
Football have a score.
There's a winner and a loser at the end of this game.
That's the whole point.
They do it in the NFL. Every major sport that people get paid for, they keep scoring. There's a winner and loser at the end of it. The Super Bowl, it's not like they give out Super Bowl. We got a win over here, and now we got you a second trophy. Like, that doesn't happen as adults.
Good job.
They only do it to children.
Yeah.
But it's just because they want to try just be so nice all the time and just give, like.
Well, and they can't have the difficult conversations, which, you know, that's a big part of like what we're doing with the Stronger Leader movement. We are, you know, we're calling men to be men and calling them to task to have these difficult conversations with their kids, their employees, their coworkers, their friends, their family. You know what I mean? Like there's tough conversations that have to be had, and
Yep.
people are not having them.
Well,
And that's what's led to this world that we're in, right?
we talk about work all the time. That I think probably one of our best traits that we have at MMG is like we don't avoid the hard conversations whatsoever. We'll have them. We had one this morning. Like it happens all the time.
Yeah, you have to.
But I'd way rather address the elephant in the room and talk about it and figure out what it takes to fix it and come up with some sort of solution. Because if you ignore it, where does that get you?
Yeah.
So I don't want to derail too far off, but we're coming through Rockhurst.
Okay, yeah.
I do want to ask, 14 months sitting, what ran through your head? Like, I've always thought about, like, when I watch
So
TV.
the total time was 36 months to the day. I was actually locked up, and then I did another 4 months of community, halfway house and stuff like that. So it's 40 months total.
So if you have that kind of time, like I've always watched on TV and shows and stuff like that, what do you, like, how do you even work your mind? Like, because I know you're a very active person. You're somebody that's always moving and grooving. Like,
Yeah.
I'm somebody that just, like, I think that would drive me absolute bonkers in, like, 2 days.
The hardest time that I did was that 14 months initially, because it's in a holding facility and there's not day-to-day routine in life. There's not everybody in the place has a job. There's only I ended up getting a job in the commissary. There was really commissary and then nighttime orderlies. But there was, I think in CCA at the time, there's got to be probably close to 1,000 inmates, and there might be 50 jobs, available, or maybe 100 jobs in the whole place, right? So not everybody can work.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, not everybody really wanted to work, I'm sure. So, but I got a job. I ended up, we knew some people that knew some people that got us to where I could work. So I was a nighttime orderly at night. So I got to be out of my cell every night. I never really was locked in, to clean, and then sleep for most of the morning. And then I'd go do commissary and deliver commissary. So I got to work, but yeah, it's tough. But once you get over that initial shock of like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do all day? Once you get over that and you're just like, okay, I'm stuck. I clearly can't leave. Leaving's out of the question.
I've been looking and there's nowhere to go.
Yeah. Guys, can I leave? Yeah. Can I just not be here?
How about today?
Not cool.
Yeah. So, once you just you got to wrap your head around, this is it. You start sinking into what a norm, your new norm, right?
Yeah.
Like anything. And so you just get habits, get routines, get, dailies, and, you look forward to certain nights. I do movie nights on the weekends, and, just you just get into a routine of life, man, believe it or not. When you're left with no other choice, that human instinct that you kick into survival mode, you find an avenue, you find a way. So, I don't recommend it.
Yeah.
Take my advice. It's just,
I've always definitely put on that's not on my bingo card.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I just didn't put it on the card at all.
yeah, good. Mark that one off your bucket list. I took care of it for us.
I've always told Madison, like, I've always been fearful, like the people that are like wrongly convicted, that I was just like doing something one night. I was like somewhere and this people would show up like, hey, you're being arrested, this happened. Like, whoa, what are you talking about? Yeah. And they'd be like sitting in a jail cell being like, I have no idea like how this happened.
Back to the accountability piece. I'm just like, I was listening to something today. When you have something on your mind, you see it and hear it everywhere, right? It's just so focusing on whatever it is that you want to focus on is what you'll start essentially manifesting it, right? You'll start seeing it everywhere. So I was going somewhere with that in particular. Oh, dang it. I lost my train of thought. Okay, we'll come back to that. It'll come to me. I'll stop.
What was I hitting
on?
You don't want to be wrongly accused.
Oh, not on my bingo card.
Wrongly accused.
Yeah,
wrongly accused. So, accountability, right? Guys sitting in jail, I'm not going to say everyone, right? There are people that have been absolutely wrongly accused for one-off instance that they didn't do or whatever. Wrong, wrong identity, whatever, right?
That's what I'm fearing. Like,
I'm
not accountability problem. Be like, hey, you killed this person. Be like, I don't know who that is.
but very, very, very rare does that ever happen, right? But what could happen is you got busted for something and your charges were something you didn't do, but you were in that whole realm of surroundings and involved. You did something that you didn't get caught for.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that's so looking through, did I have as much of the weight of all the cocaine they were putting me responsible for? Did everything that they accused me of, that I got, that was all part of the judgment? No, but there was a lot of stuff they didn't know about that they didn't accuse me of.
You could have got hit for.
So all I did was I just took it on and I'm getting punished for all of it, all known and unknown. You know what I mean? You had to receive, and if people could receive that accountability, that's not what I said. No, but you said a bunch of other stuff that was pretty jacked up, and you know what I mean? So why don't you just go apologize just in general, or what, you know what I mean? If we can own an entire situation, people get isolated onto certain pieces of the scenario. Like, no, I didn't do that. No, and then now they're all righteous. Yeah, it wasn't me. Dude, but you did. I mean, come on, look at all the other stuff you did. Just go say sorry, man.
So that's our number one core value at MMG is extreme ownership.
Yes.
But there's nothing that I think really irritates me more than when people don't take ownership for things. And I think that goes very much into leaders also, that we've just built a leadership side of things that if I have a problem with the sales office, Ricky owns up to it, that it could be something he never even knew about.
Right.
Same thing with the marketing side. If one of the people, an account manager or something, to execute something correctly, then is it lack of knowledge or lack of execution? Because if it's lack of knowledge, that's our fault.
Yeah.
And then it's my fault for not training them right to then execute down line even more.
Yeah. Is it a knowing problem or a doing problem?
But it's one of those things that it keeps coming up every time, that it's take the ownership, and it's when I sit with someone and they point a finger at someone else, it is really the quickest way to just and I see it in the car world all the time. Automotive space. It's like the picture with all the Spider-Man all pointing at each.
Yeah.
I feel like every time it's like,
where are the car keys at? Never seen. I've never seen
never
that
even
car.
showed that car, dude. I don't even know where that car is at.
It's checked out to you.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, now that you say it,
Isn't it you and your social media doing a video of that car an hour ago? That car.
Yeah. But it's just, I don't know. I think ownership and accountability is a characteristic that people just need to focus on having in general.
Yeah.
That 9 out of 10 times, if you just take accountability and ownership of it, whatever the outcome is, it's going to be. I would way rather just own up to it right out the gate, or good, bad, and different. If I know about it, there's so many times I've talked to clients and they call and they'll be like, heated about X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, that's my fault. I didn't double check on that. I do. And they're like, you don't even do this. I go, yeah, but it was my fault. I didn't build out a system that made it to where that didn't fall through the cracks. So I need to go back and redevelop this system and change this process to make sure something like that doesn't happen. This is what I'm going to execute to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Yeah, I love that.
And then all of a sudden the mentality flips right around.
Instantly diffuses people.
Yeah.
You did this. Absolutely. So sorry. We're going to take care of it. Blah, 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 blah. Okay.
I've practiced in the mirror for 30 minutes before I came in.
That person is hyping themselves up about how mean they're going to be and how they're going to yell at you. And then when you just say, yeah, I did that, and they're like,
did you even know you did this? Yep. Absolutely. That was me. My bad. I'll fix it.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it diffuses them 100%.
It really does.
Yeah, because you're right. They're like, especially if they're preparing themselves to go have that hard conversation, to rain terror down on you, and they're ready for what you're going to say, and then what they're going to say back, and then what you're going to say back, and you're going to say it wasn't their fault, and then you say, yeah, I did it. I'm like, oh, that didn't go like I thought it was going to. Right?
All right, well, I'll call you back here in a week.
Yeah, right.
But
that better be done.
I think most of the time, what holds people up in sales more than anything out there is assuming.
Yeah.
That you assume you think you know what people are going to say. I think in leadership, you assume how people are going to react. You assume what people are going to say. Where it's assuming just leads to so many bad things that I remember there were so many times I get a Foursquare and I'm like going out to sit down with someone and I'm like, hey, Tony, you want to be at $500 a month? And
I'm never going to do this.
I'm at $750. Yeah. I'm like, bro, he told me he wants to be at $500 a month. We're at $750. He's like, 0%, 72. You still can't get to $500.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, okay. And I'm like walking out there, sit down, like, yeah, I'll do 72. Let's get it. I'm like playing every scenario in my head as I'm walking out there. I'm
He's
like,
gonna punch me as soon as I show him this.
Guess what's not on my list of things you're about to say?
so I think assuming and all of it. And
Yeah, no doubt, 100%. So, prison. So I went to prison, got
finished
out.
that stint.
That was fun. Not at all.
When you were sitting there, were you able to think of like the vision, the idea, future, like what you wanted life to look like when you got out?
Nope, I just knew I didn't ever want to sell drugs again.
Okay.
That was, at that point, mind you, I was 22 years old. So I was processing, I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up because what I had wanted to be was Tony Montana on Scarface, and I wanted to put my head in a big pile of cocaine. You know what I mean? And that dream got ripped away from me. And I figured out that wasn't really a good trajectory for life. So it ruined my whole life plans, right?
It sounds like you checked that one off.
Yeah, right.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
That didn't work.
I did
Got caught.
check that
Okay.
box.
He never got caught. How did I get caught so
Yeah,
fast?
I know. And see here, so more of my stupid thinking ways, right? At the end of Scarface, you remember he gets like murdered there in the mansion, right? And I want to do that, but I'm not going to do the murder part. I'm not going to get murdered. I'm going to live happily ever after in my mansion, with drugs all over my face, right? And so that got abruptly interrupted by the federal government.
No fun zone.
Yeah. So man, I really didn't. I didn't have. Honestly, I just didn't have the mentorship of someone to steer me and guide me. Right. I listen, and I have support for days. I got a great family. Of course, I got my wife now. I've got friends. I've had so many people that care for me. I remember at my court hearings, I had 3 rows of people. You'd think like a celebrity was on trial, right? I had so many people at every single one of my court hearings. So support I've always had. But the problem is the support I've always had was supporting me in whatever I was doing. I needed somebody to help me do something different, right? And I didn't have like true mentorship. And, like I said, my parents, my brother, they want good for me. And they would, if I asked them, hey, should I do this? They're going to say, no, that's probably not a good idea, right? But I needed somebody like forcefully to guide me, but I needed to respect them and want to listen to their leadership, right? Rather than, parents. And I get people that call me all the time. Hey, can you do me a favor? Can you talk to my son? I'm dad. He's not going to listen to dad. Would you mind having a conversation with him? He'll listen to you. You know what I mean? He looks up to you, blah, blah, blah. So I understand, right? I didn't really have that person. I needed somebody outside of my family that wasn't trying to parent me 24/7, you know what I mean, to give me some good guidance that I was going to listen to. So that's why I've kind of taken on this role and this desire and this passion because, man, if I could have just had that one influential person to steer my raw horsepower, I could have been something. Certainly a lot sooner. I could have had an earlier start. People were like, well, look, man, you look at you now. Your life turned out pretty good. I probably wouldn't change too much. I'm like, man, how much shit I had to go through for the first 25 years of my life. I'll be 46 years old this year.
I will say, though, that I was talking to Michael Lawrence, the CEO, Big Brothers Big Sisters, and I do a lot of stuff with them. And also, we do a lot with PAL, Folds of Honor, but a lot of these younger kids that have these kind of more challenged upbringings that I look at as like, I think that gives them the grit. It gives I feel like those hard things that
Probably.
They're not the kids that are getting the participation trophies all the time. They're not the kids that they're getting things handed to them.
Or even getting to play. Because now it's the pay-to-play mode. Parents can't afford to play. So
that's what looking at some of these, like we've been talking with them on just most of the time they just don't have the network of people to go speak with. Mm-hmm. So we've been in discussions of developing things at the office that these kids can come in and speak with high-level CEOs around Kansas City.
Yeah.
In blue-collar trades too, because we live in a world that's pushed college for so long. There's a lot of well into 6-figure earners that live in the blue-collar world all over the place, have great lives.
Yeah, I got technicians pushing upwards of $200,000.
Yeah, so you look at what this world is like. That there's different pathways for people, and they just need the connection points to be able to say, "Hey, now I have this person that I met, and maybe I'm going to be in a hard point in 6 months. I need to be able to call that person to say, hey, am I on the right path to come work for you?
Yeah.
So like to have those as opportunities, because I was somebody like when I got to college and I got out, like when I was in the dealership space, like I felt like I was out of control. I didn't feel like I had a direction. I didn't feel like I had, my dad was always that like compass to me that was like good things happen to good people, do right by everyone, like work really hard. But it was like I still didn't have a direction.
Yeah.
So
that's same for me. I had a lot of that too. I had a lot of that guidance of my dad, respect people, be respectful, be kind, you know what I mean? Those core fundamentals of parenting. I was raised like that. I was raised right. That's how I used to tell people all the time. How'd you end up in prison? I'm like, I shouldn't. I was raised right.
Yeah.
I definitely wasn't. I didn't grow up in a house, dope houses where my parents were high and strung out all day long. You know what I mean? I was raised right.
Yeah. But I think I see a lot of, they look at your story as a whole. Like you've lived a life that is a story that someone would read. Like you write a book about it. There's some people that I go over and I talk about, I'm like, anything else happen? Yeah. Like, no, that about sums it up. I'm like, okay. Like, it's every great story that they make movies about, everything, that there's hard points in it. Yeah. If it was easy, everybody would do it.
Yeah, right.
And but most of the time, I think a lot of times in the entrepreneurial world, I think that there's some people, that addictive personality is something that people have, and it takes years to try to figure out how to control it. And you end up having to catch that mentor, that person that you're willing to listen to. It took me a while, and I think Madison was a lot of that person that kind of helped steer me, because, before I met her, I was wildly out of control. Yeah. She like kind of honed it in. I got out that I was just so addicted to working that there was nothing else. And I think that's I don't know. So who was that mentor that you end up running into that says, hey, Tony, this is the direction we're pointing in?
Going to be very cliche. Jesus. When I finally got saved, January 16th of 2016, I think I shared that epiphanic moment in the hotel. You want me to share that again?
You can. I think I've told that story to more people, that it's because everyone sees the success level now. People see that the things that happen. But I talk about, once again, it's the hard things that create that story, that create that person. Yeah. And I tell that story all the time, so I'm perfectly fine with you telling that story again.
So, so we'll fast forward through. So once I got out of prison, it was a lot of just stop and go. I got back into the car business. I was selling cars at Barron, Volkswagen. And then eventually got a finance spot with Jay Wolf. Stayed there for quite a while. Bounced around some sales manager spots. Again, the raw horsepower, nobody really wrangling me in, right? Nobody ever told me the statement, everywhere you go, there you are. Like, and the car business, man, I don't care. Whatever your problems are at the dealership you're at, you're going to go to the next dealership and have the same problems. It's just a different set of faces. It's all the same. I had the conversation this morning with one of my finance guys, like, Bud, man, I'm telling you, just take it from me. Take my advice. It's the same problems that I've been doing it almost 28 years, and I've been to a lot of stores, and it's all the same crap. So anyway, did a lot of bouncing around and worked my way, but that slow fade starts happening again, right? The lesson that I learned was never to sell drugs, right? That was that hot stove that I touched that absolutely got me landed in prison, was selling drugs. I got a conspiracy for distributing drugs, and I was not going to do that again. I touched the stove, it burnt me really bad, and I'm not going to do it again, right? But I did never go to prison. It was never outlined in my charges that I couldn't do drugs, right? It just said don't sell them. So it's the weekend warrior, right? I get off of paper, I'm off probation, no more urine analysis, I'm free, right? And so drinking, having a good job, partying, starting to make some money now. We go out on the weekends, Friday night, maybe a little bit because I still have to work on Saturday. Saturdays, we're going ham, right? And, it's partying, it's up all night, it's chasing Sunday morning, all that. Then that got into, okay, well then Friday night started getting a little harder, and then started missing a couple Saturdays, at the dealership. And you know how that is. Your finance guy on a Saturday is not there. That's not good, right? So that slow fade starts to happen. Then, man, I ended up getting a job with V Auto, which was not a good thing for me in all the liberties I had. It was an awesome job. I loved to travel all over the country, but I worked from home, right? Had zero accountability.
He's like, oh my God, every night, Saturday night.
Yes, right. Just as long as I make it downstairs in front of my computer for my first go-to meeting, I'm good. No camera, no nothing. So I did that for a long time. And part of me being a high-functioning person, right, in any stressful situation, I can also be very high-functioning when I'm high. You know, so that, which is a really stressful situation. If you walk into a situation, you're the only high person in the room. It can be stressful, right? But I had that. I've got the ability to overcome adversity, and again, addiction, all that stuff. You know, high functioning people in stressful situations. Your stressful situation can be high. It can be a real stressful situation, whatever. If you function in those realms, you got to determine what you feed it, you know, to be a positive outcome or not, right? So me, I was feeding it drugs, so that was bad, and I'm going in and out of dealerships across the country in a suit, tie, 3-piece. I'm consulting car dealers, multimillionaires that own 5, 10, 20 rooftops. I'm coaching them on how to improve their business higher than a witch doctor. I just got out of my rental car taking a big rip off of a freaking bong smoking meth, right? So if I can get these guys to listen to me while I'm high, I got it all under control. I'm good, right? I have no reason to stop at this point. I'm making a ton of money. People trust me. They respect me. I'm good. I don't have a problem with the drugs. You got a problem with me doing the drugs. It ain't my problem. You know what I mean? That's the spin, right? Well, what you don't know,
because you're really good at selling yourself. Salespeople that are good are always the best at selling themselves anything they want.
No question, right? Yes.
My wife, she said, anytime you want something, she goes, you pitch it to yourself so well.
Absolutely.
She goes, by the time you've spun it in your head, like there's no telling you no.
Yeah, if I will go to buy something, I'll avoid a salesman because they'll unsell it. I'm like, no, dude, I'm already in. Yeah, dude, you're going to mess it. Shut up. Don't even talk to me.
You're going to talk me out of it.
Just ring me up.
Yeah. Right. Now you gave me like 20 options. Now I need to think about it. I don't know. I'm confused. I was really dead set on buying that when I came here. You really kind of messed up my decision.
Yeah. Oh, bro. Yes, 100%. So anyway, so the slow fade starts happening. Well, physiologically, and I'm no doctor, but I've had obviously some time to learn about this. There's a part of your brain that your creative part, and I don't know if that's your frontal cortex or whatever, but where a lot of your creativity comes from with any sort of addiction, if it's not controlled, you can shut down your creativity, which is also attached to your compassion, is what I'm understanding, right? If you're a doctor and you see this, please don't comment below that I don't know what I'm talking about, because I clearly don't know what I'm talking about.
Something's going on up here.
But my point in this whole matter is what I was doing was killing my compassion, right? The empathy, the compassion, the care. And you guys know me well enough now to know, like, I'm a person that cares on a high level, right? So I don't care on any level at this point. I'm so strung out on drugs, man. I had a Plenty of Fish profile with my name, my phone number, my pictures, my everything, and I'm hiding it from my wife. I mean, really? So that, but it's like I didn't care, right? I didn't care because that piece of my brain was fried. It was gone. So anyway, my wife inadvertently, obviously found out about that. Somebody told on me, and
narcs again.
Rats. So it wasn't my fault. It was the rats.
Were working with the government.
Yeah, it was the rats. I knew it.
The feds again.
The feds were watching me. So anyway, so my wife, she had heard that I was doing drugs, into that, but I told her no, it's just no, blah, blah, blah. She's so naive and unaware of that stuff, right? And I was able to sell her on it. And of course, she wants to believe me, right? And so anyway, once this deal happened with the girl, she kicked me out of the house. She's like, all right, here, listen, drugs, gambling. I remember one night I hit the bank account like at 5 a.m. as soon as we were paycheck to paycheck. I mean, I was blowing through everything, right? And she, but there's a lot that's happened. I moved to Oklahoma. I ended up moving back. I was by myself. I ended up moving back. I was a variable director of a 7-store group down in Oklahoma once I left V Auto. And then I strung out even more. Anyway, I came some fast forward through all that. So now I'm home and I don't have a job and I'm buying overstock freight. I got a warehouse down in North Kansas City. So I do what every tweaker does and I buy a bunch of junk. and right, and I rent this.
He's like, I've been watching
warehouse.
Storage Wars. I got this.
Dude, I'm telling you, it was the fun. I went to Cargo Largo every week to bid sale. I'm buying pallets of crap, right? I'm like, ooh, I can sell that, but no, never mind the other 2 tons of shit that I got.
We almost did that. We went down one time. I was like, dude, I could sell all these trailer hitches.
I'm telling you, bro.
Like $500. That's a lot of trailer hitches.
It's kind of fun.
He's
right?
like,
you don't know what you're gonna get.
I'm sending pictures to
We
Mass,
almost
and she's
bought
like,
a
don't
light.
you dare buy a pallet full of trailer hitches. I'm like,
So my biggest lick, what really set the addiction in on that, we're going to get way off on this, but that's okay. So I bought this whole pallet of Power Crunch protein shakes, right? I bought, and nobody bid on it, I bought this whole pallet of them for like $15, okay? And I look them up on GNC, and they're like $30 for a 12-pack of these things, right? And I got like freaking 150 or 200 cases of this crap, right? So I get this pallet. I get on Facebook or Craigslist at the time, and I think maybe Facebook was around. Anyway, I'm selling these things $5 a piece, bro. I made off this $15 pallet. I made like, I don't know, $500, $600, $700 or something like that. And I'm like, man, I'm doing that. I went back the next week. Somebody's bidding against me. I had to buy the next pallet for $45.
I still got plenty on the bone here, buddy.
Right. And then the next week I went back. Somebody outbid me and caught on. Somebody bought like $200 for a pallet, and it's still a steal, right? But
Somebody's like, dude, this guy, I know is selling out of these every week because I keep buying them from him.
yeah. So that's what. So anyway, fast forward, and so she kicks me out of the house. So I'm at this point in my life. I don't know if I want to be married, clearly, because I'm running amok, right? And I don't think I want to be married anymore. I'm high, right? So she kicks me out of the house. Super. And by the way, my wife is she's gonna be canonized as saint. She will be Saint Dominique when she passes.
Oh, she's the nicest. I don't think I've never seen her upset or even like. I bet she doesn't have a bad day.
She never cussed at me. Oh, but she has bad days. Sorry, babe. She melts down, but it's cute. Yeah, she's going through a tough time right now trying to pick out shelves at the new med spa right now. It's rough. Yeah. And she can't figure out the new controls on the Cadillac. Anyway, so she love you, babe. So she kicks me out of the house, and now I'm like this sense of relief comes over me because I don't have to live this double life anymore. You know, I mean, cat's out of the bag, right? So I had all these points from when I traveled with the auto. I had like bajillion miles of points, whatever, on Marriott, because I used to say Marriott properties everywhere. So I used to go down in the courtyard by Marriott at Briarcliff, right? And of course, I schmooze the front desk girl. She gives me the most basic room, takes the least amount of points, and then for free upgrades me to the penthouse suite. You know, so every night I'm partying. Life's a party at this point. I have no job. I got a bunch of money in the bank because I just got a severance package, and so I'm life's good.
Buying pallets every week.
Dude, life's good, right? Life's good. So then it's like partying gets boring after like 2 straight weeks of it, right? It's like
Normally 2 days of it
right
wears me out now.
Right. So she told me I can come and go to the house anytime I want, see the kids. She wasn't gonna like take her, she just needed me to go get life figured out, right? And but I can come to the house, come see the kids whenever, stay for as long as you want, whatever. So what I had this pattern, I would come home really, and mind you, my oldest was 6 at the time, so I would come home really early in the morning and make sure that I was there when they were getting up, and then I would go back at night and help put them to bed, right? And so I wanted to kind of not there, right? And she used to tell me all the time, she's like, "You're here, but you're not here." And I'm like, "What do you mean I'm here, but I'm not?" It's like some Dr. Seuss stuff. I'm here.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
You Dr. Phil'ing me right now?
Yeah. She's like, "You're not present." I'm like, "Whatever." Just more stuff to fight with me about, right? So anyway, I have, when she's gone at work, I start hiding these little Nest cameras in the house. Every tweaker does, right? I got cameras everywhere, they're all hidden in like the recessed ceiling light, tray and all that. Well, I had one in the bedroom. I was going anywhere where I know she would be on the phone, like talking to her friends or parents or lawyers or whatever, and I wanted to make sure that I was like one step ahead, right? And so like 5 o'clock in the morning, and mind you, 6, 7 is when I'm usually coming to the house. So 5 o'clock in the morning, I got a notification on my phone, and it's the camera that I have hidden in the bedroom, picking up some audio. So I'm like, she's got a dude in there. She's getting him out of there before I get there. I know it. And I'm listening, and I'm like, busted. And I'm listening. I hear her weeping. I'm like, and then I hear my daughter, Mommy, tell me what's wrong. Maybe I can make you feel better. She's like, I just miss Daddy, baby. And she's like, I miss Daddy too, Mommy. And that's when, you know, that moment where she had been telling me that I'm here, but I'm not here. I was like, how does she miss me? My daughter, what do you mean she misses me? I'm there every day, you know? And it just hit me like a ton of lead bricks. Like, man, I've been a shell of myself for the last however long enough to where my daughter, like I'm unrecognizable to my daughter even when I'm there, right? And that's my world just crushed, right? And I pulled my ball cap down and just started crying, and I was crying like sobbing, uncontrollably sobbing. And I just remember, I'm like, God, what did I do to my family? And I'm crying, and I was like, God, I don't even know where to start. I don't even know how to put this thing back together. Like, God, help me. What do I do? And I heard the most calm, soothing voice just said, go home, which I messed up part of that story, because the really cool part about that story is I didn't sell drugs, and I never would sell drugs again, but I would give them away for free. That's not selling them, right? So everybody always hung out, especially meth addicts. If you're going to get me high for free, you're my new best friend, right? And dude, I'm a high-class drug addict, right? I wasn't like one of the guys you see, you know, all tweaked out in the hood, you know, I'm clean cut. I'm a normal functioning person, right? So I would go down to the dope house wherever and I'd buy a bunch of it, because I wasn't going to frequent that place, you know. I'd probably go once a month, you know, once every 2 or 3 weeks. I did not want to go every couple days to the dope house and get an 8-ball of meth, right? So I'd go buy half a pound or something, right? I had a ton. I had that much, and then a couple pistols on me. I mean, I was one traffic stop away from getting lost in the prison system forever, you know. But anyway, so every night we would go out and go party, go strip clubs, go wherever. Everybody always met me back at the hotel because I had the dope, right? I'd invite 20 people, and, you know, somewhere along the way, you know, meth heads get spun out and stuck on some project somewhere, and half of them wouldn't show up. But I'd always have a good 5-7 people to get high with me, right? This day, not one single person showed up. Not one, right? And obviously, as we know, God had a plan, right? But nobody was there with me. I was by myself. And so when this thing happened to me, I got to be alone in that moment, you know. And I was just like, God, what do I do? And then I heard this voice, go home. And it freaked me out. I got up and looked around, and my buddy that was supposed to be there, like, dude, you in here? I'm looking, it's one of them like 2-bedroom suites, you know, and I'm going in and out of the closets. I'm looking all like, bro, quit messing with me, man. Like, I'm hearing voices. And, you know, I sat down. I was just like trying to process. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been up for too long. I'm hearing voices now. You know, I don't even know what to do. And you know, obviously I'm thinking through it. I'm like, man, I heard the voice of God, you know, that was God telling me to go home, you know. So Dominique calls me about 12 o'clock. Mind you, like from that point on, I'm just smoking and getting as high as I possibly can, because I don't know how to process all this, you know, and just numbing myself. And she ends up calling me and said, hey, you mind coming and sitting with the kids tonight? I'm going to go try out a new church. Well, this was the night that the Chiefs were playing the Patriots in the playoff game. She don't care about football, right? And that's what they were showing at this little church. So she went, Chiefs on, she's like, eh. So she leaves and comes back home, and we hang out for a little bit, and we're talking and kind of catching up. It's the first time we had ever really kind of like engaged in any major conversation other than hi and goodbye. And sweet, you know, kind as the day is long. And she's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go to bed now. Like, you know, appreciate you watching the kids. And I was like, leave, like, get out. Right? I said, well, I'm gonna go to bed too with you. And what do you? No. I'm like, listen, something happened today. I had a moment, and you know that I have a problem, and I know that I have a problem. I'm here to admit it, and I'm done. I'm walking away from everything, but there's no way I'm going to be able to do this without you. I need your help. You know, if you'll stand by my side, I'm ready. I'm ready to take that step. And she looks at me, and she's like, listen, if you think that, you know, here in a couple of nights you're going to go out with your friends again and do this, you know, back and forth and string me along, she's like, I'm out. You got one shot. And I was like, that's all I need. I just need one chance. And that was January 16th of 2016. I never picked up another drug. 2 weeks after that, the guy that was supposed to be in the hotel room with me that night, it was his 40th birthday, and we went out on a party bus and started doing some shots of Patron, you know, and she was with me, and we were it was the first time out of the house. Like, let's get out of the house. I've been, you know, detoxing for the last 2 weeks. I need to see some sunlight, you know. So we go on this pub crawl, and man, I started getting a nice little buzz, and said, babe, let's go home. And we call a cab. I don't even think there was Uber at the time, 10 years ago. So we call a cab, and on the way home, she's like, you okay? I was like, no, I'm not okay at all. I want to get high like really, really bad right now. There's no possible way I'm going to be able to handle drinking, and stay away from drugs. It's like, I'm not going to drink anymore. So, and I was not an alcoholic. In fact, I really didn't enjoy drinking that much. And the only reason I liked to enjoy drinking was to get a little buzz so I could start getting high. You know what I mean? That was it. Yeah. So that was the association. So I quit. Yeah, I quit, walked away from everything. And then, so you're back to, that was a long road to the question you answered. So who was that person for me? Well, anything worth doing, the addiction, right? I fed my addiction Jesus. I introduced myself to Jesus. I grew up in the church. I was Catholic. I made my first communion, all that stuff, right? So I had a fundamental basis of Christianity, at an early age, and my mom's always been really devout, and both my parents are. And so I was raised right, bringing up in that environment. But we weren't like, we went to church. We went to church on Sunday. We sat down, stand up, learn, sit down, stand up, learn the prayers. Didn't learn the ritual of being a Christian, right? Or really what it was. And so I dove into that, right? And I'm like, I know that spirituality and religion is a big piece of recovery, sobriety and things like that. And I know that's a missing component that I don't have in my life and I need to. So I just started watching some sermons, and I just totally fell in love with the character of Jesus. And where it's funny because looking back, I've got a lot of things crafted in my life that are very, very neat how it's laid out. And I wish that I could say, yeah, man, I designed it like that. For me, it's called dumb luck. And the real answer is I'm blessed, right? God's had a super hand in my life. But knowing that I'm going to be in this position, sitting here right now, talking about a company that I started called The Stronger Leader, I needed to get to know and fall in love with a leader. And as far as I'm concerned, there is no better example of the best leader that's ever walked this earth is Jesus Christ, right? And so I fell in love with him and everything about him from an historical human being. You can be a stone cold atheist, and the atheists no one refutes the fact that Jesus of Nazareth was a human in a historical time on our planet that walked the earth, right? No one refutes that. Where the division starts coming is refuting that he was actually God, right? But nope. So I took a first dive at the history, like the part that no one will scoff at and say no to. That's okay. So I wanted to learn about biblical times, just from a historical, learn about, the Jewish people and all of that, right? Just the Middle Eastern. I'm Italian, you know what I mean? That's our middle of the world anyway. That's our area of the world. So there's some culture in there, right? And so I started just falling in love. And then the more I got to know Jesus, the human, it's the truth of the deity side of it is undeniable, right? It just reveals itself. And so watching him and how he led, number one, Jesus wasn't a punk. You know what I mean? Like there's a sermon series that Stephen Furtick did called Savage Jesus. And I go back and think about like Talladega Nights. I picture my Jesus as Leonard Skinner in the front row, but the angels weeding on, right? That's the truth, right? You can picture your Jesus however you want, right? I picture my Jesus as this savage, this man's man. That number one, historically, he was about 6'2", 6'3", and imposing. And those guys, big beards, dark hair, dark features, you know what I mean? Middle Eastern, pretty intimidating, probably looking. 6'3" dude comes, shout on your doorway, with big construction. He was a carpenter, right? So the dude was an imposing character, right? And went into the synagogue. There's a story. Went into the synagogue where he was upset with everybody that selling, making a mockery of this, and he started literally flipping over tables and running everybody out of the, all these guys that were selling stuff in the name of God, right? They were just blasphemy or whatever. Dude was he was a savage, right? I'm like, I can get with that, dude. Savage, dude, that's my Jesus, right? And so just start learning that piece of it, man. And you can, he's a dude. He's just a dude, man. And all he did was put himself into uncomfortable situations where people wanted to kill him, and ultimately they did, right? But put himself in uncomfortable situations, speaking to people who maybe he didn't believe, maybe did believe, skeptical, whatever, but speaking the truth, speaking boldly. I mean, guys, that's what we're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do as a man. You know, you walk into a room of your staff and you got to have a corrective conversation. You lead with your heart. You lead with your heart. And whatever needs to be said, say it. If it's coming from your heart, you know what I mean? That's what people that grew to know and understand and follow Jesus was because they knew that what he was saying was coming from his heart, right? So I've adopted that, and I tell people all the time, man, there's a couple things that you can bet the farm on with me.
Yep.
I'm going to tell you the truth as I know it, okay? And it's going to come from my heart. Now, my disclaimers around that, there's always disclaimers, right? Because I'm in the car business, got to disclaim everything. My disclosures are my truth doesn't mean I'm right.
Yeah.
It's just the truth as I know it, right? Doesn't mean I'm right. I could be wrong, okay? And just because it's coming from my heart, you may not like what I got to say, right? You may not be okay at all with what I say. In fact, you might not receive it very well. I might hurt your feelings, okay? Just because it's coming from my heart doesn't mean it's not going to hurt your feelings,
yeah.
right? And so, but it doesn't matter, right? If you're speaking truth from your heart, people can get with that, man. Like you said, I may hate my dad today, but I'm going to respect him later. You know, your kid, you speak that hard truth into your kid. When I tell my son, no, I'm not going to go spend the weekend with you in Springfield because you didn't make it to state. You didn't want to go to practice those nights. You didn't do everything you had to do to make it to state. I'm not telling him that so that I could tear him down and break him down. I'm telling him that so he can hear truth from my heart.
And at that point, he walks into his room and he is not happy with you.
Not happy.
But it's later in life, he looks back on that's going to be a story that he knows is a pivotal movement. It says, okay, hey, I was told a thing that I didn't want to hear, but it's not everything you're going to hear is always stuff that you want to hear. Exactly. And one thing that I've always I'm not going to come out and say that I'm at church every Sunday. I'm not, but I've always understood that there's a higher power. I've always believed in that. What I struggled with a lot in college, I saw it early days, and I think just growing up in a small town, there were so many people that hid behind the church, that with their actions that they did every day, what they did. You still see it, and there's so many people that use that as an excuse that they can go do all these bad things during the week, and say, well, I can go to church on the weekend, and it's going to make people sin, and it's like
he forgives me for everything.
And it's like I've always just struggled with that as one piece of it. And it's something I've talked with my wife about a lot. She grew up and her mom's at church every Sunday, and we'll go to church with her mom, and I enjoy going. I think it's great, but I've just always looked at. I think if there's a higher power watching us, they're going to watch us on our actions that we put in place all the time.
100%.
And the way that I just always treat people, the way that Madison will talk about all the time, we were at Disney World and I make friends with the janitorial guy that's out emptying the trash cans. I'm just always talking to people. It's the same way Dre's always been. It's just our dad taught us that everyone puts their pants on the same way every single day, and that's why I've never been scared to talk to high-level CEOs and these super successful people, and I've never fanboyed over athletes. They're normal people just like us, and I look at the actions that if someone is watching me, they're always watching.
Yeah,
I don't get to pick and choose. That's not just hey, they're checking on you on Sunday.
Yeah, right.
That person's watching me. They're always watching. And that's what I do when I get up in the morning, to the way that I talk to my wife when there's no one at home. It's a thing. I've never raised my voice at Madison. Yeah. I look at it and I'll see the way that men speak to women. I was like, is that what makes you feel big?
Right.
I go, that makes you feel like a man?
Yeah.
I go, you're a pretty little man. You're a very small man inside if that's what makes you feel big.
Yeah, right.
And you just watch all these things, and it's I don't know, I've always I've kind of ran in my lane. I've ran on my, once again, I know that there's that higher power. I can tell by the way that my life has worked out and the way that things just happen.
You're doing something right.
That something is happening, and I see it.
Yeah,
but it's leading by principle and leading by those morals, and that's what I thought was cool about Stronger was just a lot of those principles and things that you put in place with that very much just align in how people should operate.
Yeah. So what's really cool on that note, my mother-in-law, I know she's going to watch this. God love you, Mom. She wants me to be bold in my faith with my Christianity and lead people to Christ. And listen, that's what I want to do. That as a Christian man, that's what I want to do. However, there's a lot of avenues to that. I don't need to tell you, like, dude, if you don't accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior, you're going to go to hell, man. You know what I mean? Some people ain't going to receive it that way, right? Yeah, that's not going to be a good way, right? There's the avenue that I'm taking is just leveling with you as a man, right? And because I know for a fact, statistically, well, I don't know I was told this by my addiction counselor when I was first going through it. So I'll tell you that story real quick. So this is how I know God has a sense of humor. Here I'm like just knee deep in love with Jesus Christ, right? So God pairs me up with a therapist that I needed, and he was a foul-mouthed Jew from New York, right? Jews don't believe that Jesus was the Messiah, right? So I'm already like conflict with the guy that's supposed to help me, right? So anyway, he used to kind of tease me and poke, I'd be like, yeah, we went to church. He's like, oh yeah, church, all right, Jesus, right? Yeah, and he would, and then like 3 or 4 sessions, and he's like, hey, I want to tell you something. Do you know that when I tease you about Jesus and your Christianity, I'm literally only teasing you because I'm Jewish. He goes, I think what you're doing with your spiritual, the grounding in your faith is awesome. He goes, in fact, the odds of your success in beating this addiction and staying on the path is so much more greater when you have a spiritual grounding. He goes, so I really don't care who your spiritual grounding is. When you can submit to an authority of a higher power, you're going to have a success. So that's why the S in Stronger, which I'll go through the acronym, is spiritual, right? And it happens back to the cool, wonderful design. I really didn't design it that way. God did, right? But the S being the first letter of the word, spiritual, it's the absolute basis and foundation for everything else you have to have in your life. You have to have a spiritual grounding, right? Whether, Mom, you're going to hate me again, whether you believe in Buddha, Allah, whatever your higher power of authority that you're submitting to, it's a good fundamental basis for a springboard for a successful life, okay? My truth, back to the truth as I know it, my truth is that Jesus is the way, right? But I'm not hammering on somebody. If somebody wants to get with the Stronger movement and learn more about it, and the first question isn't it, are you a Christian? If not, none of this makes any sense. Like, yes, it does. Be trustworthy. You don't have to be a Christian to be trustworthy. You know what I mean? So you're right. Like all of the letters and all the words, it is. It's fundamentally just sound principles for being a good human.
And that's what I thought was like pretty cool about it was that there are so many things that I think from a, once again, all religion standpoint is so directly correlated at, I don't think sometimes people get to the root cause of it, that you can go find Jesus, you can go find whoever that higher power is, but if you haven't found yourself, I think a lot of people struggle with finding themselves and coming to peace with who they are and how they run and operate and what those morals are and what that moral compass looks like for them. Mm-hmm. To say, I'm going to be a good person when I get up till when I go to bed every day. What does that look like? How do you treat other people? Like, it sounds super cliche, but like when we're little, it's like treat others like how you'd want to be treated. And it's
that quote exactly. So the guy I was telling you guys about earlier, the guy that does the photos for me, mm-hmm. Atheist, autistic. They're very logic based, right? And obviously, as we know in religion, there is no logic, right? Because it's all faith based, right? There's no like 2 + 2 doesn't equal 4, and there's Jesus, right? You got to believe that he's, So anyway, he just can't get it. Right? It's not that he doesn't want to or he's fighting or he just can't rationalize faith, right? So he's an atheist. And I sat down and had lunch with him one day. I said, Kurt, why are you an atheist? And he's like, he explained the whole logic trap to me, right? Like, I can't logically put it together. And I said, okay, let me back into this then. Why are you, and because this dude will do anything for you. And you do anything, and he just shows up every day. Just a good human, right? Yeah. I go, why are you such a good person? What's your moral compass? He's like, oh, I suppose I was raised right. I was just raised to treat people good. Like, what's wrong with that? Right? What's wrong with that answer? Right? I know there's a deeper truth and a better truth, like to know Jesus and all that stuff. But man, if the guy's a good guy, right? And if he's interested in what I'm doing, of being a leader or whatever, and he's an atheist, I guess, you know. And what I told him, I said, man, I'm going to tell you the truth. The truth of the matter is, let's go logic here. And I took this from a TED Talk that I saw. Drew on a piece of paper a circle. I said, this is the circle of life, of knowledge of life, of everything there is to ever know in life. Like if you literally knew everything, it'd be in this circle. I go, how much of this circle do you think you know? And you know, a little bitty sliver. I'm like, fair, right? Yeah, and it leaves the rest of the circle. I go, so if you only know this little sliver, is it possible that God exists just in an area and you just haven't found it? You haven't learned about it. And it's just something you don't know yet. I suppose. I go, well, then you're agnostic. You're actually not an atheist. You just something you haven't learned about yet, right? Yeah. And that's the truth, right? I think that most spiritual paths are tainted by someone who grew up maybe in a church as a kid and saw, you know, the pastor was an alcoholic, or you know what I mean, all the horror stories you hear of bad church upbringings, right? Yeah. And so nobody just ever really educated that person and showed them the
right I think way. That was, I think we had an upbringing that we saw.
The hypocrite stuff.
Yeah, we saw a lot of this hypocritical stuff happening in these local churches around us, and we saw a lot of times we saw all these people's true colors when they come in to buy cars.
Yeah.
Like we have one of the main people at the church coming in trying to buy a vehicle for his wife, and he's bitching up a storm to the sales guy about his rate. Dre pulls him in. He's like, well, you need to trade in one of these other autos. He's like, oh, that's on there? It was his girlfriend's car on his credit.
Oh, it's kind of like the pastor I'm still trying to track down for a bad check that he wrote us from the church account.
Yeah. But it's like,
bro.
I look at that and I'm like, I'm watching this and I'm like, I'm not going to listen to this guy. That you couldn't pay me to go listen to that, like, because take the church out of everything else, like that guy's actions, the way he lives his life, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, I don't want to hear anything he's got to say.
Exactly. So it's like, I look at the people that are around me, I look at the actions that they take, what they do every day. And I will say in the last probably like 6 months, I've seen some guys around that I've watched, and like I see you every morning, and I have Michael Munsterman, what he's doing with the Kingdom Kodak stuff, and I'm like watching what his like just the discipline level that he has every day, the principles that he's putting in his life, and I'm watching some people that it makes me more interested in it, that I'm watching what's happening over time, but it's something that for majority of my life, I haven't seen those role models. I haven't seen the people that have came from that side that. And like I said, it was just my experience.
Yeah,
it never made me change my thought process of it, because that person watching, I mean, he knows that guy has a girlfriend and a second car and everything else like that. And I'm like, hey, I'm not the one judging you.
Yeah, right,
I'm not going to listen to you, but like, there's somebody else judging you way more than me, bro.
Yeah.
I just want to know if you're trading in one of those cars, bro.
Yeah. You're taking this rate plus a
bottom line
warranty ain't got, buddy. You're walking out with all of it.
Yeah, bottom line, you got to trade open auto. Here it is.
But it's just like crazy that you look at that, and it's the society that we live in, that not everyone's. I always like to take face value that everyone's good people, and there's a lot of people that just make poor decisions, and they think in a short movement, and it's something we speak on business all the time, that I just look at, do the right thing. Like I never make decisions out of finances. It's just.
Or emotions.
Emotional control is something we've as a group have.
We're all getting better at it.
We're all working on that.
Better at it.
Yeah,
trust me, bro.
I'm gonna say
work in process.
We're way better at it now than we were like a few years ago.
You know, I'll tell you, like the one byproduct of kind of what I'm doing. I'm helping myself, believe it or not. Like I minister to myself a lot. You know, those hateful like talking to your wife a certain way, man. Dominique and I, she was down at Melania's volleyball tournament in Orlando, and you know, God bless her, man. This woman, like, I don't even hardly know how to turn on the washer and dryer. I mean, she like takes care of me like on a stupid level, right? Probably more than she should. So she literally does everything. It's always for the kids. So it's the last day for the soccer gear that we got to buy for the soccer club, and she can't get reception on her phone to get online and buy all this gear. And she's asking me to do it. And I'm like, I'm trying. It's not letting me do it. And I'm like, all right, I'm in. Should I get a large? They don't have a large. And then it like text like 5 minutes. I'm at work. I'm trying to work, right? 5 minutes goes by. No. I'm like, well, then what size should I get? Another 5 minutes go. I don't know. Try a medium. Medium's not working. What should I get? Another 5. I'm like, babe, I just need you to pay attention to your phone for like 3 minutes and we can get through this, right? Just please hold your phone in your hand and don't put it down until you see another text come from me until we're done, please. Next text, 5 minutes later. And I'm like, babe, WTF, like this is bullshit. I'm working. I don't have time for that. And then I look at the text and I'm like, this is not what I portray on my videos. This is not the things that I tell how men should treat their wives, right? No one on any of these videos is going to see this text that I'm sending to my wife, but I do. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to be a hypocrite. Right?
So I will say today, I talk on emotional control a lot, and I work on it a lot. This morning I was fired up. We get done. This is how the world works. I'm sitting there and I'm just unleashing, and I was going to the foot doctor. I was like I was really excited to go have my
Walks
feet.
right out of the meeting. He's like, I'm going to get my feet looked at.
And I'm like, I'm bolting out of there, and I was fired up. And you can ask all of them, our leadership meeting, like that. It hasn't happened for a while.
Yeah.
We walk out.
2 weeks. It was crazy.
I'm heading north, hit a pothole, blow a back tire on the Range Rover. I'm sitting on the side of the road. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. I was like,
sorry.
I'm literally sitting on the side of the road. I'm like, I deserve this.
Yeah.
I'm like out there changing this tire. I'm like, this is for you being an asshole today.
Yeah.
But it was just like,
that's it, man.
It was wild that.
Well, it's great that you could see that, right?
Yeah.
Rather than being the victim, and then all of a sudden now your car sucks, and you know what I mean. It's like, yeah.
No, I did see old Mayor Lucas post about it being really hot outside, and make sure you drink water today. I'm like, that's bad. Like, you want to come change this tire for me? It is
tire,
hot.
left my water bottle back at the place.
I paid my taxes, but we still got these monster potholes. They're going to put a rover down. But no, yeah. So let's go through the stronger
hashtag, the acronyms. All right. So, well, let's talk about how it came about. That's pretty cool.
Perfect. Let's start there.
So I'm seeing a psychologist again. Not because I'm messed up. I mean, I am kind of messed up. But I think we all are on our own accord, right? No, just a performance coach. You know, he's a psychologist by trade. He's the team doctor for the Oklahoma City Thunder, and which is really cool, right? I didn't understand. I didn't know that at first, but he is the doctor that my pastor, Pastor Craig Groeschel, who's we got 46 locations, mega church, one of the most influential church leaders. You know, this is who he sees, and so I was like, Craig I relate a lot to him and just how he speaks and how he acts in his life, and so I'm kind of involved with a group within the church, and I just leaned on that a little bit. Hey, could I ever have access to this? I don't even know who the doctor is, and they're like, I don't know if he can take you on. I didn't know he was an NBA freaking doctor at the time. Like, I don't know if he can take you on. Let's just see. And so they send a message, whatever, and they got us linked up. They a couple weeks later called me, hey, you know, Dr. Wayne said he could take you on. So I started working with him, man. Such an awesome dude. Maybe one day we'll have him on this podcast. He's
cool.
He's a unique guy. So his background, he went to psychology, went to school, got a doctorate, and had like boatloads of student debt, right? All these loans he had to pay off. And so he's young. He tells his wife, hey, I got a great idea. If I go into the military, I could probably get this debt paid for by the military or whatever. And so his plans were to go in, go do 4 years and get out. Well, 26 years later, he's still in the military, right? So he ended up making a career out of it. Well, through his career, he was tasked with some special forces stuff. So he did a lot of like SEALs, Green Beret, all the psychological evaluations and profiling for putting these teams together, and even like higher level teams that we don't even know that exist, right? The covert operations, assembling these teams together, and a lot of the psychological exercises and things they do to put these teams together. So this is the guy that I get to work with, right? I'm like, hell yeah, I'm a Navy SEAL.
I'm going to listen to him.
I'm like a Navy SEAL in plain clothing, right? I'm a car SEAL. so
Tony the car SEAL, I'm here.
Yeah. So we're working together, and my whole goal is to expand my leadership and my influence, and just continue to develop myself as a human and become a better leader. Right. That my goal is to be a better leader and get to the next level. That was kind of our whole purpose of getting together. I kind of felt like I was in a not really in a rut, but just stuck in a gear. I knew there was more, a higher gear, and I just couldn't access that gear in my head. Needed some help, and so we were working together. So one of our exercises, he said, all right, today we're gonna write down all of the words of the character traits that you want to exude. Like, what do you want to represent? What do you want to be known for? When you walk into your business every day, what are the character traits? So we wrote down 12, 15 of them or whatever. He's like, all right, here's your homework assignment. I want you to take these words and figure out how to put the idea into an acronym, something that you can remember, right? And just keep in your head so you always kind of like have these words in your head. I'm like, all right. So do you remember I put out a Facebook poll, like, if you know me and you've had any experience with me at all, I want one word that describes your experience with me, right? So I get a lot of responses and great words, right? Writing all this stuff down. Well, the two words that really stuck out to me that I liked was solid and strong, right? And those are fair words for me, right? I feel like I'm a solid dude, strong, physically, all that, right? So I wrote them down. I did what anybody in this day and age would do. I went to ChatGPT. Right? Character traits that start with an S. Character traits start with a T. O, L, I. So I got a notepad and I'm writing all these words down with each letter. And I started seeing more of the words loading up on the strong side, right? And so I kind of ditched. I was really drawn to strong, ditched solid, became strong. When I whittled all these words down, and I got them all down. I got spiritual. I'll go through them. Well, then the R was I had resilient and relentless. And you guys tell me, which one of those do you get rid of, right? Knowing me. Yeah, I mean, I'm like, well, that's kind of the same word. Like, no, I looked it up. It's clearly not the same word. They mean something.
They sound
different.
similar.
Yeah, similar concept, right? But they're different. And so I told Wayne, I was like, here's where I'm at. Here's my deal. I got this, but I'm hung up on R. And he goes, well, here you had, I can't remember what word I had in that list that really I hadn't accounted for yet, but encouraging worked. He goes, so why don't you do encouraging and pick up do stronger and just pick up the other R. So now you have both R's. You don't have to ditch. I'm like, perfect.
ChatGPT didn't give you that.
Glad I didn't think of that. Right? Another wonderful design that I didn't come up with on my own, right? So anyway, yeah. So now it's stronger, spiritual, trustworthy, resilient, open-minded, noble, genuine, encouraging, and relentless. And those, though there are many traits, character traits that I definitely want to represent and be, those embody like at the core of who I am. And within those words, obviously, spiritual. Well, humility is in there. Well, how is humility and spiritual? Well, because if me as a man's man, as a tough guy, right, I can look at you, I size you up, I can beat you up by the physical, right? But how do I know something without ever seeing it, without ever know, right? You got to be humble to believe that, right? To believe that there's something bigger and better than you without ever. I know you're bigger and better than me because you clearly look bigger and better than me, right? But if I know something's bigger and better than me and not seeing it, there's a humility that has to come with that, right? So I think that's the springboard. And then spiritual, as we've been talking about for the last hour, the spiritual side of it is the base of it all, And then trustworthy goes without saying, right?
Yep.
If you can't say what you mean what you say, and it be the truth, then nobody's going to listen to you. Everybody likes a leader who's real, not one who's right. People will get behind that, right? If you're a leader that's always real but not necessarily always right, you will garner more followers than a guy that's always right.
I'm not right a lot, but I will fight my point to the end.
There's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with that. You believe and you're convicted in your point, but
it's that pitch to myself that I sell.
Right.
I'm like, I've sold myself on that.
But how many times
super
have
clear up here.
How many times have you been like, all right, I'm wrong?
There's a lot of
Sometimes
times
you have to show him the path to him being wrong, but he gets there.
But a lot of times too,
Some
like
of us are hard learners. Listen, look at my path.
I'm very much a visual learner too, so it's like
We bring out flashcards. He's all in.
If somebody pitches me something, I'm like, no. But if they pitch it to me in a way that I can see the steps of it, I can see a little bit more of the picture, then I'm normally a pretty easy buying on it.
I will say, if you bring him a PowerPoint and you're like, hey, I want to do this, he's like, yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, that's
I'm like, that's pretty good. I'm like, we got a lot of steps in there. I'm liking it. Or if you just told me but it's always been the way that like I formulate things in my head.
How are we going to get there? Yeah.
you can have the grandest goal out there, but if you have no roadmap to get there, I tell people day in and day out, like business owners that come in, first question I ask business owners, like, what's the goal? Where you want to be in 12 months? Mm-hmm. All the time they start pitching. They're like, we're going to do this much more in revenue. We're going to have this many more employees. We're going to do all these different things. All right, that sounds awesome. Then we start talking about everything. 30 minutes later, as we went through, and so what are the actionable steps that you're putting in place today to make that a reality?
You smack them in the mouth like, so how are we going to get there?
And then it's wild how many times it's just like crickets.
Uh-huh.
And they look at us and they're like, I go, that's all talk.
Yeah.
I go, there's nothing that pisses me off more than people that are just all talk.
Yeah.
If you come into MMG and we tell you our goals, they are very lofty. But you sit with anybody on leadership, you sit with anybody on the team, we can tell you what we're doing actionable stepwise every single day, every single week, every single month to make that a reality, because guess what? The math.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
When we start showing it to you on paper, that's why it's so easy. Everyone's like, you guys are moving at this. I'm like, anytime we need money, like investors, cake.
Yeah.
I go, I show them the roadmap of what we've done, where we're going. They're just like, yeah, how much you need?
Yeah.
I go, yeah, super, like, but the map, that's like if we talk about it, if we're going to Beverly Hills tomorrow, you jump in your car, I jump in my car, I get to use nav, you don't. I will beat you there every time.
Yeah.
You're just going to head west?
Right,
You sound like you're on a covered wagon.
Like, on the Oregon Trail, I will get there. Yeah. I will hit water.
But so once again, though, just as leaders, like I've like just continuously instill in the company, like figure out like if no matter what the goal is, whatever the movement is, wherever you're trying to go, have a direction and then calculate what it looks like.
Absolutely.
The whole way there.
Absolutely. People, every time someone calls me, I obviously now doing this, I've been getting a lot of DMs of, can you help my cousin, can you help my brother, okay, yeah. I got to talk to him first. And I've been straight up with people. Here's the deal. I'm not spending any time with anybody that's currently on drugs and like have no desire to get off. Like, I'm not the guy that's going to get someone off drugs. I'll be the guy that helps someone stay off them. But they got to make that first step. So I'm not going to go sit down. My time's way too valuable to sit down and entertain some dude that's blown.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If he's committed and like at his wits end and ready to quit and he's made the first step and he's 5 days sober, I'm good. I'll start there, right? I mean, that's a tough start, but I'll start there. Like, oh man, yeah, I got high last night. I really want to quit. Like, try that first and then call me. Yeah. Let's try that quit thing first. So anyway, but then talk to, all right, well, man, here's the first steps. First step is you got to stay clean. You got to make a conscious choice. You got to, but we do, you're right. Everything. And that's why I think part of what I'm so compelled to do what I'm doing with the Stronger Leader is because I take my life's history. And that's the other piece of this. If you are watching, you know anything about me or learning or whatever, this guy don't know what he's talking about. Man, I know exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to this stuff. And when I challenge people, like, hey, this is a really tough one I've been hitting people with. Can you be a good father but a bad husband? And, oh, yeah, my husband, he's terrible to me, but he's great to our kids. Well, no, he's not great to your kids. He's teaching the kids to be terrible to you, right? So I'm having those difficult conversations, but it doesn't matter what you're trying to accomplish, what you're trying to be successful at. There's got to be a way to get there. And so I can speak from the other disclaimer. There's a lot of roads to get to places, right? Between here and Beverly Hills, there's a lot of different paths you can take, right? So I never, ever, my way or the highway. Like, if you want to be successful, you better listen to me. If not, you're failing.
Yeah.
Not true.
Which I think when you talk about like the husband to the father, I can't speak on behalf of having children, but I will say and I think I can tell by what you've done that you have gotten better at this too, that I think at younger ages, you point that addictive personality only in one direction, and it's only that road.
Yeah.
But as like progression has happened, I pointed everything at business. I've figured out how to not point it all there all the time, and how I can point it at becoming a better husband, and the time that my wife needs, and giving her that time, and not being somebody that just being a successful business person is what makes you. It's the people I look at now as like, who are the well-rounded individuals that can say, hey, this guy's a great father. This guy's a great husband. He's a great businessman. He's done all these things. Because I know a lot of great business guys out there that have absolute train wrecks of lives.
They're cheating on their wives, or successful, and they're like, man, he can do it, man. And he's empty. He's empty inside.
It's like it's so hard to watch too, because I know that there's guys in the car world. I know guys outside the car world. I know guys all over the place that I look at their lives and I'm like, I wouldn't trade that. I'll take the hard fight I take on in business every single day of trying to figure this out and not having the financial freedom like you have. But I'm like, I have a wife that wants to be with me all the time,
right?
That I love being around, and vice versa. Like, we truly enjoy each other's time. I have friends that I want to be around, that want to be around me. I'm like, you have some of these people that have so much money that they have nothing.
Nothing.
I'm like,
all right.
And people will look at them as successful. And they'll look at that as what success looks like.
And so this is other part of my mission is speaking boldly out on that stuff. And man, for the longest time, I was taught, there's a place for it, right? Mind your business, stay in your lane, right? Worry about yourself. Well, I don't think that's what I'm called to do. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna pry into your business, and I'm not gonna overstep. And I'm probably, unless a guy is physically beating his wife in Target or something, if I can hear a guy that I don't know and I don't know who they are, kind of being rude to his wife, I'm probably not going to be the guy. Hey, bud, you better be nice to your wife. That's not really what a man. But if I ever see that guy in a setting where friends of a friends or we're at a party together and we start talking, I'm going to say something to him like, "Hey, man, you know what? I know who you are. I remember we didn't meet, but I saw you in Target a couple weeks ago, and I saw the way that you spoke to your wife. Man, not cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say when the time, but I'm not gonna be the super evangelist on the street corner with picket signs saying that you're gonna go to hell if you don't accept Jesus Christ. Right? I'm not gonna invade that way. But you bet that the opportunity that I have to speak when it's appropriate, I'm going to.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. And so I was raised in a keep your mouth shut, mind your business, stay in your lane. I think that's part of our problem. There's too many men staying in their lane, not holding other men accountable. Because if that were, we all know, right? That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to be in community. The devil, his number one tactic is to isolate, right? So that's what the devil wants us to believe is you stay in your lane, you don't say nothing to that guy over there. Because the devil wants his way with him. He's going to continue to be a shithead to his wife and treat his kids terrible and all that because his friend group stays in their lane.
But I ask people all the time too, and like, I guess this is something I don't know if I don't wrap my mind around it, but I don't know what people get out of that. Like, what's the enticement?
Out of what?
The way that certain men speak to women. Like, I don't know where
they don't, man. They don't get anything out of it. They just don't. They don't understand and realize that they're not getting anything out of it.
And I think it's I don't know.
People just don't think on a deep enough level to really dissect and like our society, look at the American way for everything is treat the symptoms. That's why the drug industry is $1 billion industry. Band-Aid is a multi-billion-dollar name because you're doing, it's bleeding, just put a Band-Aid on it, right? Yep. It's still bleeding, just put a Band-Aid on it. No, it needs stitches. You know what I mean? It needs fixed, right? Or that's the problem. We just Band-Aid, mask. Like, hey, man, listen, I'm not going to tell you that you shouldn't talk to your wife. You should already know that. What I'm more concerned with as your friend, what's going on inside your heart? And what's wrong?
I think also when you go back to the accountability, the ownership side of everything, I also think when people argue, like someone's trying to win.
No question. Yeah.
And I'm guilty of it sometimes. Like this morning, Ricky and I were going after who was going to win that. But it was like afterwards, I'm like thinking about when I'm driving. I was like, well, what did we get out of that?
This is before or after you hit the pothole?
This was before. I was thinking about this. Then my tire blew. Then it was just like, Yeah. And then
should have won.
But it's the same thing. Like why I don't argue with Madison. Like, I don't want to win against her.
There's a saying that we say all the time. say it. Chris Lee, my boss at McCarthy, it's another Dr. Seuss riddle. I don't want to be right. I want to get it right. I don't want to be right. I want to get it right. Right? Being right is winning. I don't want to win the argument. I just want to get it right.
So it's the same thing. Like I look at it in the relationships we build with clients. Like one party doesn't have to be right. We both have the same North Star of where we're going.
Yeah.
We don't need to be right. We just need to make it right. Yeah. So it's like,
be right. I want to get it right.
But why? I don't think I can wrap my head around. I see couples argue all the time. I see people just like at one another. I see it. I don't know what the enticement is for males to try to win an argument just to say, yeah, do they go and brag to somebody about that, saying like, hey, I got in a fight with my wife last night, I won?
You know, the reality of it is, you peel back the onion, there's a guy that's lacking confidence, you know, either in his relationship, and so he's overcoming the confidence with dominance, right? You know, that's also humility. Another thing Jesus, you know, had was extreme humility, right? But he was God. I mean, the baddest dude alive, like can literally walk on water, right? But super humble, right? You're at last, right? And at my place, at the seat of the table, if you're first at the table, you're last in heaven. If you're last at the table, you're first in heaven, right? And so that comes humility, and so there's hurting, you know, and that's what I'm talking about. Men, you have to have good men that are willing to, like, hey man. You hear this all the time. Hey, man, how's your day? You really want to know? No. Just more just a general sentiment. But me, I really want to know, man. When I say, hey, man, how's your day? I want your heart to open up and bleed to me. Like, man, I'm struggling right now. I missed an opportunity in the gym this morning, man, and I thought about it. This bothered me all morning long, and I'm glad we're talking about this now because it's bothering me again. A guy in the gym this morning that I had never even met or even seen, and he looked tired, right? And it's 6 a.m. We're all pretty tired, and
we got a pretty solid group in there that's always there.
Yeah, we're there. We depend on each other, right?
Yeah, I'm not gonna say I'm always there. Dre,
Where you sit down?
Yeah. So I go, hey man, what's going on? He's like, struggling. I don't know this guy from Adam to open up to me about struggling, that he was struggling in his life, you know. And I'm walking out and I look over my shoulder and I'm thinking to myself, I should have asked him what he's struggling about. I should have asked him if he's just physically because it's early, or are you struggling with life? You know what I mean? Most of us, including myself, aren't wired to do that, man. And we got to be a good leader. I said this in one of my videos the other day. If you're waiting to have a feeling before you have an action, good luck, man, because it may not ever come.
I also think, though, to that feeling that everybody that knows, like, it hits at weird times that I'll just be doing something, and like those scenarios that happen. The first one, that if that gut feeling, like my gut to my action taking, is almost instantaneous.
I love that.
So it's just like when we'll walk out of Capitol Grill and we're walking out and there's a guy sitting there and that they're trying to like kind of shoo him away, and like I just got done eating a dinner that I don't even have to think twice about what the cost is.
Correct.
I walk over and I pull $100 out of my wallet and I give it, and then I walk back over to the car, and then one of the guys I'm with, he's like, what if that guy goes and spends it on drugs? I'm like,
that's between him and God. Yeah.
I go, that's not my decision.
He ain't gonna need to eat.
I go, he might. I go, maybe he goes and spends it on food.
Yeah.
I go, I took my step correctly there. Mm-hmm. I can't control the next person's step.
Yeah.
And regardless, you made his night, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no question.
Whatever is going on.
Something just got better for him.
But you look at every one of those scenarios that it happens all the time, that maybe I hit 9 of those wrong.
Yeah.
We were driving home on Christmas Eve from our aunt's house, and I'm going by a bus stop, and there's a person sitting out there in a wheelchair. I literally hit stoplight, and I'm sitting at the stoplight. I pull into a CVS. It's over off North Oak. I pull in that CVS, and there's that bus stop on North Oak. And Madison's like, what are you doing? I was like, I need to do something. I walk over, and I sit on this bench next to this person, and end up giving $100 and wait till the bus came.
Ah, dude.
And Madison sits there and she gets back in and she goes, I knew you just had to do something. But it's like, I look at that person, I look at our family, I look at everything that we have.
Yeah.
And that's how someone else's Christmas Eve is.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's good.
That's
stuff.
like, those are the hard things that you
want, man.
But it's like, those are hard things that happen out there. And it just, I don't know, it was something I saw and it was like, did I change that person's life? Probably not. But it's like, I did my one step to maybe make, once again, if it makes a difference in 1 out of 10, that 1 out of 10 will matter.
So my challenge for you and all you guys is, and that is, so kudos to you for having that feeling and springing into action, right? Your next step in this as a man is you consciously know that same scenario on that same night. If you don't feel that urge in your stomach, it's still a good decision to go do what you did, even if you don't feel like it. So the next step as a man and doing things right is making conscious decisions in spite of not having a gut feeling to do it. Because you know doing something like that is, I don't feel like it. I'm tired. I don't want to get out. It's cold.
It was freezing out.
Yeah,
I was
I'm full. I just had a bunch of turkey. I'm ready to go home. I don't feel like sitting out here, but I know that's a good decision to make, right? Even though I don't feel like it. That's that next level type of stuff. And I can tell you, man, the blessings and the rewards that come from those types of actions are even better. That's, man, I applaud you, and it's great for doing what you did. That's awesome. Because a lot of people have the gut feeling and feel convinced, and they still don't do nothing. So at least you did.
It's the same thing like when we go to charity things, whatever it may be. Like Boyan can attest to this, that we go to all these charity events, and when the Fun and Need comes around, Madison and I always put up our hand, and we donate a lot of money at those.
Yeah.
And I remember we're at one of them, and I was talking to Boyan like 4 days before, and I was like, dude, struggling to make payroll. Like, we need some invoices to come in, blah, blah, blah. And I'm talking to about all the struggles at MMG, and then we're at this charity event that's like Fun and Need. It's like $5,000. I'm like, yeah. And then he comes over later, he goes, dude, I thought you said you were struggling with payroll. I go, yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I go, but these people are struggling to eat.
Mm-hmm.
I go, they got a lot of different problems. And I told him every single time, I was like, when those things happen, I go, the world just works in the way it's supposed to be, and it'll position. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be there, and it positions itself correctly. And Dre will always say, he goes, you're the luckiest person I've ever met.
You're the most blessed person. You're blessed.
But it's just doing those things that we were at another charity event.
No, there is. And I think he's like
blessed.
Yeah.
He's used a lot of it.
But we were at a event in May, and Fun and Need comes around. I put my hand up, $5,000, and then Boyan looks over and he's like, he does it, and then he calls me the next day, and he had a boom truck that had been sitting on his lot for like a year. He had it marked way up too, and he goes, somebody will want this thing one day. He's like, and I'll make a good lick on it. He calls me next day at 10 o'clock. He goes, I just had a guy drive 3 hours and bought that boom truck. He goes, dude, you're onto something. I told him, I was like, you just put good out in the world, dude. I tell you, it'll just feed back to you.
Did I ever tell you about how I got like so infatuated with giving? Did I ever tell you the story about that? So I was just sober, and my bills every month were $11,000 a month. That was to pay all the loans and everything, and all the bills before I even ate a morsel of food or turned a light on. It was $11,000 a month for my bills. And I had gotten a job with a buddy of mine that did this online motorcycle financing. And he's like, dude, I really don't have, you can come help, man. I'll give you $1,000 a week. I'm like, all right. I had some kind of money coming in. Dominique was working in the hospital. I think she was bringing home probably, $2,000 or $3,000 a month, right? So we were short $4,000 or $5,000, right? I'm trying to figure out. I still had the warehouse of all the crap down there. Even though I'm sober now, I wasn't going down to the warehouse, but I had to figure out. I was hustling off this stuff just as much as I could. Eventually I was just gonna have to just close. Give the guy, the landlord, and be like, I'm not doing it no more.
This is your junk now.
Yeah.
Hey, that's what I filled this thing with junk and gave back to you.
Yeah, these are your printers that don't work.
You got a lot of them.
That's my rent payment. I paid rent and printers. So anyway, so Frank Termini, he's like, hey, Tony Mike, do you tithe? I was like, no, dude. I said, I can't afford to tithe right now. I said, man, my bills are $11,000 a month. I'm taking home $1,000 a week right now. Well, I'm short. Now's not the time. I definitely don't tithe now. So I was going to church every week, right? And he goes, buddy, sounds like to me you can't afford not to tithe. And I'm like, he's like, you need God's help. I'm like, I need someone's help. And man, I'm at that point. I'm like, it was a great opportunity. Risk reward was like, bro, $100 a week more to the church. I'm like $5,000 short. I give it a whirl. That's like going out of slot machines. Right? It's like, I'll play them. Whatever. So
I'm already short.
Yeah, I was. It didn't matter. So that first week, I'm like, here we go. Got the paycheck on Friday, paper check. Went to the bank, cashed it, got my $1,000 out. Went to church, put $100 in the offering. Came out from church. My inbox, I was on Craigslist at the time, had all the junk posted on Craigslist. My inbox from all my Craigslist blown up, dude. Just loaded with people wanting to meet me on Sunday to buy all this stuff, right? I go down to the warehouse. I drop everybody off from church. I go put on some dirty clothes. I go to the warehouse. I pedal off a bunch of crap for the next couple hours. I come home, $700, $1,200, a couple $1,000, whatever. I give it to Dominique. Hey, pay whatever bills are due. I'm going to tell you, there was probably a 3-month period where I was making $4,000 a month and I had $11,000 of bills. And to this day, I got an 850 credit score. I never missed one single payment on anything. God, I kept going to church. I give $100 every week. I come out.
You come out.
I was like, man, this is like a.
And then he's sitting there. He's sitting there next week. He's like, what if I give $200? He's like, is this going to double up my Craigslist?
No. That's where my mind went. Swear. So I end up getting a job at Crosley, right? Income goes up. So I get my first washout check, and I'm like, and I'm 10%. I'm like, it's 10%. So in the Bible, technically, tithe is a Hebrew word that means tenth. Well, back then they didn't have cash. They had crop, and so it's as the Bible says it, you're supposed to give the 10% of your first crop, because I guess back in the harvest days, I don't know anything about farming, but your first harvest that comes is usually your most plentiful. So you give 10% of that, right? Because that's going to be your most, and you put it in the storehouses for the community or whatever. But that's what by Jewish religion, that's what you're supposed to do, right? So you're in our modern day times, your first 10% is of your gross income, not your take home, right? So you already got the government hitting you for 40%. Then you got the church hitting you for another 10%. I'm thinking, half. So, but anyway, so I remember I get my first washout check, and it's like, I don't know, like $3,500. And now I'm like, I got to give $350 to the church. I'm like, man, this is starting to get some money. This is significant, right? So I give the $350, man, and it's just I think I started selling a bunch of I was out of the warehouse gig, but I mean, just blessing after blessing, and God, so if you're watching this, and I'm trying to give people like incentive to tithe. If you give $100, you might not get $100 back, but what you might get is your kid might get accepted into college, or you may reconcile a relationship with a friend, or if you give out of obedience, God blesses you. It may not be you give your time, God blesses you with more time, because there is no more time to give, right? But God, He blesses you. He blesses your life, whether it's financially, whether it's relationally, whatever. But for me, in order to learn the association with giving, it was financial. I would give, and he would give back more, right? And it just kept. And I'm going to tell you, man, it kept getting bigger and bigger. And as my checks grew and my success started growing, the checks started. Now, I remember the first time at Life Church, I gave a $10,000 check to the church, right? And I wrote the check out, and I went to the pastor, and I'm like, hey, I was involved with a youth group at the time, and Life Church is huge, right? I said, hey, is there any way I can make sure that these funds get allocated to our location, to our switch program, so we can do like events or whatever? He's like, man, listen, I appreciate where your heart's at. He goes, we are fine. We are way good on funding. We don't want for anything. We're good, right? Our church is good. And he's like, you give with your heart, and you don't worry about where the allocation of it's going. And I promise it'll go to a good place, right? And eventually I got asked to be part of the legacy team of the church because of the contributions and all that. But man, it did, man. And he trust you with little, they'll trust you with a lot, right? So it's like it was little at first. Now it starts being significant, right? Now giving to me, I tie it into more sacrificial obedience, and it puts a lot of perspective for me. I had a situation just this morning where I was talking to one of the employees and giving him some perspective, and he's caught up in principal matters about certain processes are going on at work, and I'm like, buddy, I just read him back with his paycheck, how much he made last month. It's like, you get paid a lot of money to deal with this stuff. Like, this is all part of it. That's what I was telling you about earlier. It doesn't matter where you go, what dealership you go to, you're going to deal with the same stuff. You get paid. These are the unspoken job descriptions that aren't written in Indeed.
Yeah.
This is the crap that we don't write that you have to deal with.
If we wrote this, you wouldn't have shown up.
Right. You wouldn't show up, but just right. But you look at that income. He's like, man, I know it ain't about the money. He goes, it is about the money. That's what I come to work for, but it's not about the money. I said, I get it, man. I said, listen, what you're talking about, because we have a policy where if you don't have, so we have a heat sheet of paperwork documents that are supposed to be in every deal. And, we charge for those, right, including myself. And, I got 4 stores. So 4 stores times, 11 finance managers missing documents, right? Man, it's nothing for me. I could get hit with a lot of money. It's $100 per document. Good news is once we get the stuff, we get credited back, right? So there's a constant flow in and out. But I told him, I was like, man, here's the deal. Here's what I want you to understand, the perspective you have to understand. I across my 4 stores, I've had as much as $4,000 taken out of my check, and I get paid quarterly. So, yeah, I could get that money back once we get the documents in, but I have to wait a whole another 3 months till my next check to get it. I said, I'm fighting mad when that happens to me, because this is what we pay you guys to do is this stuff, but I have to be responsible, and I get the punitive damages for the stuff that you're supposed to be doing. I said, I could fly off the handle because that's $4,000. I could use that money, right? I could use that money. I got a girl turning 16, right? And many kids, so I could use that money. I said, but you know what? I was on the treadmill this morning. This literally just happened this morning. I was on the treadmill this morning, and I gave a sizable contribution to the church on my app this morning. I go, so is it really about the money? It's about the ego. It's more the ego.
I also think this is wild in today's world, like what people's perception and what people's focus is on all the time. Like I don't actually really care about money. Like that's, if I walked out.
It's a byproduct.
It is. And it's everything I position problem-wise is would this be a problem 200 years ago? Pretty simple way for me to like register things really quickly of like, if is it really that big a problem? Like I hit this pothole today, I pulled over on the side of the road, I'm pissed. Like out the gate. And then I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't actually have real problems.
200 years ago, their wagon
the
was
wagon
broken. That's a lot bigger issue.
Yeah.
Snapped a spoke.
Yeah. We're sitting there on cell phones being able to call around to every tire shop around. You can get 20 tow trucks there to pick you up. And like now they have a full-size fifth in the back. Like it's pretty easy. Not really that big a deal. I'm back on the road in 45 minutes. Yeah. But
it's only because it took you 30 minutes to figure out you had a spare.
Yeah, for real. Like for quite a while, my golf clubs were in the back over where the spare was at. So I'm like, I don't really want to take all this stuff out of the back to see if there's even a spare back there. Yeah. But like what we formulate as problems aren't actually real problems.
100%, no doubt.
So I think until people experience real problems in life, it's something that they just formulate, and 99% of people, I feel like when you talk to them, everything leads back into a financial issue.
Always. Yeah.
Why we've always done great in business is because I don't fucking care about I have a good idea. I don't care what it costs. Like he said, there's like, bro, I'm like, I'll find more money. Like, there's abundance. There's so much of it out there. Like
they print it.
Yeah. Like they literally think about.
So at the end of the day, like I look at the numbers every day. I'm like,
where do we get one of those prints?
Yeah, but it's like you run that. Like we've always figured out the financials. Like it's something that I truly don't care about money that much. Like
if you do it right, man, it's a byproduct. It's not. It's a byproduct of doing it all right. It really is.
But most of the time, that controls people's lives, and as the scalability of finances happens, people lose sight of what amounts of money can change someone else's life.
Oh yeah.
That, I mean, if you would have given like Dane in college $100, I thought I was like wealthy. wealth. Like I was wealth walking around. Like when I could buy a bottle of Patron and show up to the party with like nice liquor and also have a Jimmy John sandwich. Like I was on. Like, but that's what at that point, like I truly thought like I was doing it.
Yeah.
But you had a Bearcat card that you could walk around campus and get anything pretty much. And like I still pay $141 a month now for that. But it was now I look back at that and as business scales, and now it has to be a few $100,000 to even move the needle.
Right.
So it's just the levels, and there's guys I talk with that like if I don't get a $5 million check, it ain't helping change anything I got going on.
Right.
It goes right back into it's like your bills are $11,000. $100 at this point ain't changing. So it's like you go to the charity event. We can donate $5.
Yeah, like if $5's what sinks us, we got bigger problems, dude.
Right. Yeah, and especially if you're involved with the right groups and stuff like that. Yeah, no doubt. It's great. Yeah. And you know what I back to what you were saying. You know, when it comes to giving, the giving, sometimes it is more blessed to give than it is to receive. Right.
Always.
So the blessing of what you bless somebody else with is great, but what that unleashes, what unlock, the Super Mario Brothers level 8 unlocks for you is big. Yeah. Right. And it usually comes in the form of happiness, security, relational. You know what I mean? There's just a ton of things that open up with those sacrificial, and that whole like giving piece has been a springboard for that sacrificial term, right? Like what else that addiction, being addicted to sacrificing, right? I was the worst money saver in the world because I always thought that if I work hard and make all this money, I ain't leaving it to nobody because ain't nobody leave me no money. So I'm going to enjoy it. I'm not going to be the guy that dies with a bunch of money in the bank and not live a fun life because all I did was born and just save my money. Nope, I'm having fun, right? But then I'm like, well, that's not really good thinking.
No.
That's not good. So,
which I think there's a median in living it that I look at that my wife, Madison, vastly different than myself when it comes to money. Like I'm somebody, like I think about something, I buy it, and like I've always figured out how to make it. I don't feel like acquisition of money is that difficult.
It's not.
So but then also when you start acquiring money, instead of just thinking short term, you start figuring out how money makes money for you. Mm-hmm. Like you get around high level operators that have a lot of money. They understand interest on money. They understand how to take their money. That's why they're investing in companies. That's why they have money in the stock market. That's why they have money all over the place. Right. And they're living off returns and percents of their money that in the early days you start thinking about like, oh yeah, you give me 5% back on my $1,000. Like that's not going to help me out, dude. I need the $1,000.
Right. Yeah.
Then all of a sudden you look at it, you're like, oh, I got $1 million sitting over here that's making 10% every year. I got another income into my house.
Correct. And that, so that sacrifice has gotten me into, 401ks and just all the other, just everything, like just that making that sacrifice and the delayed satisfaction and delayed gratification that I'm not very good at, right? As a drug addict, you take a hit, you get high. So having to untrain and retrain. So I'm like, okay, so starting to see, you look at your 401k 6 years later after being with the company, you're like, ooh, that's life-changing money in there.
Yeah.
And I don't need it right now. So when I do need it in 20 years from now or whatever, it's going to be even more like, okay, all right, I see this. It's going somewhere. But that's anything, right? Look at my physique, the gym, same thing, right? You don't go to the gym the first day and look like this. It's after. And so being able to sit in those sacrificial moments and being obedient to the cause, right, is kind of the springboard for a lot of it. And so that's another part of the spiritual or the stronger movement. The N for noble is make sure that whatever you are addicted to, it's a freaking good cause. Make sure it's something that's worthy of your time, your energy, your effort, that you can talk openly about it to anybody and you don't have to live in shame, right?
Yeah. Make
sure it's noble. And if it is, go be addicted to that. Go smoke it. Whatever.
That's I've told people like I've gotten wildly obsessed with business, but it's the things I've gotten more addicted to lately is how do I become just a better person for the people around me? I think because there's a lot of people that read self-help books.
Yeah.
They just read them, but they don't implement those things that they read. It goes in one ear, out the other. They're great at regurgitating it, but then once again, it just becomes something they speak on, not the actions that they put in place. Where my thing is I used to actually read a lot more than I read now. I read a lot less now than I ever have. I listen to a lot more Audible books, but I implement a lot more things that I listen to or that I read now than I did before. And now instead of trying to be like, okay, I'm reading this book that's 13 chapters, I need to try to get every single piece of it. I look at it as just like take one thing away that you can go implement in your life to change.
Yeah.
Or one thing that even if it just adjusts your mindset a little bit. Because sometimes early on in business, like we run really fast or guess what? Banks don't really like us. Yeah. They hate that super fast growth.
Yeah.
They're terrified of it.
Yeah, right.
So it makes us look crazy high risk. Mm-hmm. So I was reading Phil Knight's Shoe Dog. Like, think about all the banks. He had the exact same problem, running like crazy. Banks were terrified of him. He went after investor money, not bank money. And then now think about being the banker that turned down Nike.
Yeah.
Now you're
right,
fall.
right,
Missed that boat big.
Right.
So it's the same thing. Like, but that was just that one little mind shift that I got from that. That can I go quote you a ton of stuff from that book? No. Right. But when I was listening to that, I hear that story in there. I'm like driving down the road. I hear that story. I was like, wow, that really resonated. So I start the book over. We're on a jet coming back from Boca Raton. And I'm like, I'm going to listen to that again. And I'm like sitting on this plane, like sitting there listening to this. I'm like, none of those bankers I meet with fly on jets. I was like, they're not sitting in this seat. They're not doing these things. I go, why should I let them sit there and try to critique what we're doing? Mm-hmm. Because it is something that, like, I sat with them and they look over and I'm like, am I doing this all right? If the banks are going to say no, or should I back off? And then I listen to something like that. I'm like, yeah, think about those idiots that said no to Nike. Mm-hmm. So it's just like, whatever it is I'm reading, just looking at taking away something that it's a mind shift or it's an actionable step that I can go put in place to do. Yeah. Where it's not just a regurgitating of
Somebody
a book.
commented to me, I don't even remember who it was or what setting it was, but they made that comment to me that they thought that was really cool about me. They see that I read it, but more importantly, they see that I actually execute things that I take out of these books. I do a lot of reading with my leaders are readers. You heard that before. So we'll do a book over a period of a month or two. Because we meet once a week with the leadership team at each store, and we'll get a book sometimes, go through. I'll use the Craig Groeschel Leadership Podcast. We'll do different things like that, but it's like we read these things, we talk about it, then they start seeing it coming alive in the culture, like the implementation, the execution. You're right. I don't read. I hate reading. I can't stand it.
I will say I've came to enjoy reading. As I've grown up, became more mature, I've come to enjoy peace.
Yeah.
A lot more than ever before. It used to be like I felt like I had to move. I had to do something. Like I never slowed down.
Yeah.
When I picked up a book, I'd think about 5,000 other things. I would literally read a chapter, and then if you ask me like a single thing from that chapter, I'm like, I don't know. I saw a bunch of words in front of my eyes, and then I don't know what I looked at.
You see one word, and it gets you strung off on some rabbit trail.
Yeah, and then I'm thinking about all this, and I'm still like looking at the words, like going through it, reading the sentences, and then I get done with that chapter. I'm like, I should probably read that again. I don't know what I just read.
Yeah, I do it all, even on my the Audible books. Writing in work, I'll do something, and I'll be 10 minutes into the ride, and I'll be like, I don't think I remember anything.
Did I just black out going down the road?
Yeah, I don't remember. I didn't even driving. I don't even know how I got here. I definitely don't remember
Where
what I
am
just
I?
said. So swipe back.
I blinked. I was at work.
I'm still on like chapter 3 of Who Not How. I've been on like chapter 3 for a week now. I keep restarting it.
But I think that's also training your mind. That it's something I like actively focus on now.
Yeah.
Is when I'm listening to something, I'm reading something. How do I train my mind not to wander?
Do you ever turn the volume up louder to try and drown out the voices?
I do.
That's because you're deaf, bro.
Me too. I gotta hear you.
My hearing's getting so bad now. It's like I listen to stuff so loud, so I physically can't think about anything else.
That's what I do.
So I don't do
hey.
that. Like I like to, if I'm listening to a book or I'm reading at night, I very heavily focus on. I think it's actually made me better in the business world too, because I can actually be way more focused, like in a conversation like this, where you're not like you say one word, then I'm like, boom, and then you get done talking, I'm like, oh, what did he say? That used to happen a lot early days in the podcast. I'd be like, okay, he said that, and I'm going to ask this, and then it's like going along, and then you like look at me, I'm like,
yeah,
damn it. Oh.
Yeah, well, sometimes in conversations you're listening to respond. Like when they stop, I'll talk. Yep. You're not really listening to respond to what they're saying. I'm listening to respond to what I want to say, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that part.
Other what we've hit S, T.
Yeah, spiritual.
We hit N.
I think we're on noble.
Resilient. Well, I skipped down to noble. Yeah. Spiritual, trustworthy, resilient. Okay, so let's talk about both R's real quick. Resilient and relentless. All right, so obviously both are like getting up, going after it, right? Get knocked down and get up again. That's resilient, right? That's also relentless. So it's like the same word. Like, no. So really diving into resilience. And so I thought about the most common time that I've ever heard the word resilience used is you talk about children when they're sick or when they get hurt or whatever. Children are very resilient, right? Well, what are you referring to? You're typically referring to their ability to overcome sickness, heal fast, heal quickly, right? Quickly recover. That's resilience. So being able to go into a fight, getting cut, getting bleed, getting bloody, whatever, and healing from that and moving forward. That's different than relentless. Relentless is the energy part of that the desire and the fire to continue to go. You can get knocked down and you can heal, but you may not want to move forward again, right? That's where relentless kicks in. So resilience is the ability to heal from a situation, which gives you confidence when you go into a situation. I know if I get knocked down or if I get my feelings hurt, whatever, somebody shits on my idea, I can heal. I'm gonna be all right. I'm a big boy, right? But I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna go back at it again. I'm gonna get knocked down again. I'm gonna get cut on my other arm, and I'm gonna stitch that one up, and I'm gonna go back at that. So resilient and relentless, I think, though they're different words, they coexist together to be really powerful in a combination. You know what I mean? Because you can be one without the other, right? Yeah. I can go after something, and I can heal from it, but I ain't gonna do it again.
Yeah,
that's not me. Right? I'm gonna keep going. Yeah.
So I think that leads into, we were talking today that I think that consistency, I think that discipline, I think that when you have that relentless just fire, that drive, I think some people have it, some people don't. Mm-hmm. That's something that I've always felt I operate different than people.
I'm built different. My son has a sweatshirt that says built different. I love it.
But I think it's a mindset. It's something that you just have to, every day I'm not going to say I'm motivated, but there's that drive that's always inside that never leaves. How many times have we failed in the marketing world on how many different things that we look at what our product and services now over the years, and you look at just all the different things that we've fallen and we get back up, we fall, we get back up, we fall, we get back up. But I look at what that builds, and I look at that just like relentless drive.
Yeah, and the other thing too, choices. I go in on this a lot. Choices. You having such a headstrong mind and mind control where you can make conscious choices to do things. Being relentless, it is a conscious choice because, like you said, when I get up, when my alarm goes off at 4:59, I am not okay with getting up. I don't want to. I'm tired. I feel tired. I am tired. And I don't want to get up, right? But the relentless pursuit of that discipline is a choice. I choose every morning when that alarm goes off to get up and go, right? It's a conscious choice. You don't feel like it. You make a choice to be relentless. Yeah. And so that is the power of the mind is it's so crazy, man. You can overcome a lot.
When you bring up the going to bed and getting up in the morning, I reference back to our first podcast all the time because on that podcast I brought something up. I said like struggle with sleeping. I feel like my mind used to always run. I got in bed and you're like, if you get up in the morning and you work your ass off and you give it 200%, by the time you touch that bed, you should have no problem going to sleep.
Smoked.
And I was like, we left that podcast. I'm like, I'm not working hard enough. I'm like, I'm not putting enough in because I still have gas in the tank at night. And Madison can tell, like, when I get home, she's like, she knows when I have a day.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, and it's not bad. It's just full. Like, I was going 4,000 miles an hour. I hit every mark right today. I've done it.
Yeah.
But when I go, the second I touch that pillow, I'm out. But it's, when you look at that, there's days that I'll come home, I get in bed, I'm sitting there, I'm like wide awake, and I'm like, son of a bitch. Yeah. I'm like, you really, you didn't give it everything today. You missed the mark.
Yeah.
So then I start like repeating that day, saying like, okay, where did I need to give more? Where did I miss? Like, but you should like, and I used to always think it had to be physical. I think that was just misconception of growing up that I'm like, physically, I have to just drain myself every day. Like, still go to the gym, but there's a lot that when you figure out how to use your mind and you really focus, like I will wear myself out 1,000 times more mentally than I ever could physically.
Mental exhaustion is way more consuming than physical. I could, if I didn't have to think, I could go for days. You know what I mean? I got a bunch of physical energy. I'm good. Right? I can go wait. When I was a kid, man, we used to run. I go, we go partying, go club. I'd be hungover, but maybe some drugs help me stay awake. But but what I mean,
you can't fall asleep.
Yeah, I mean, you're going. But the minute you start applying like some high level thinking and deep level care into your considerable thoughts, right? It's like it's draining.
It is
draining, and then you mix in emotions with that, right? Emotionally,
which it's crazy with all of the. I used to never be. I wasn't much like to talk deep with people. Like Madison was like, I'm the only one that sees you for who you are most of the time. Like I think the podcast has helped a lot too, and just talking to people and a lot more open conversations. But I wasn't the person that wanted to sit down and talk about something.
Yeah.
That now Madison, like, she goes, I can't wait for you to come home, like, talk about your day. And then she goes, you'll dissect, like, all these different things that you did well and things that you did wrong, like, things that you need to get better at. And she's like, you give me feedback, and then she gives me feedback. And it's just, it's cool to see that all happen.
Yeah, you guys are a good power couple. It's fun watching.
Yeah, we've both done a lot of growing up together.
Yeah.
So it's, we've always ran very well parallel. That's what I've always told. Like, she's never needed me, and I've never needed her.
You guys probably travel pretty well together too, right?
Yeah, we travel well. Like, we're always in sync, but I think it's just always been an understanding that she doesn't tell me what to do. I don't tell her what to do. We're not, neither one of us or someone else's boss. Like, we've always been very understanding. Like, when we got our home, she's like, I got inside the house, you got outside the house. She goes, no problem. She's like, I don't do laundry. She goes, I'm fine with doing that. We've never struggled with any of the things that some people struggle with.
Right, yeah.
But we're on the same page, and we have the same North Star of where we're going, and we're both traveling to that same spot together.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great.
So,
all right, so we're at open-minded. So that's back to, everyone likes a leader that's real, that's not always right. There's a misnomer that as a leader, you have to have all the answers, right? And I did a video on this just recently. A good leader will oftentimes have answers, have solutions, right? But a good leader, an even better leader, will have the right questions to ask, right? Because when I go into a situation where, now, you don't get me wrong, there's a time, right? There's a time where you need to be a dictator, and this is the way it's going to be, right? Your name's on the place. you gotta call the shots, right? That there's those times. But for the most part, when you go into a situation where you have a leadership team, you have a problem that needs addressed. Hey guys, here's the problem. Here's what I see. Here's the things, who's taking on this task, or why are we doing this, or who's doing. A good leader will know the right questions to ask, not necessarily the answers to give. Now, hey, what do you guys think we should do for this? Nobody's got answers? Okay, well, here's what I think we should do for this, right? I can offer up solutions. I can have answers. That's a good leader is going to be someone. But my first, you first mentality, and lead with the you first mentality is, listen, this is your guys' dealership. You guys operate this thing. I run 4 stores. I'm here a day, maybe 2. Maybe it won't be here a week and a half, 2 weeks. Maybe not be here 10 days at a time. This is your house. I can help you. I'll help you where you're stuck, but I need your input, right? What are you guys going to buy into? And so that's the open-minded part is I'm going to collect that. I'm open to hearing anything. I'm open for myself. Hey man, can I have a conversation with you about, how you're leading us? Absolutely. Let's go. Come right in and tell me what you think about me, right? Being open-minded is part of that humility too, right? You have to be humble to be open-minded, and you might get answers to questions that you might not.
I think I'm not going to say I'm perfect at this by any means yet, but it is something I've worked on a lot over the years because early days of MMG, we didn't have a leadership side, and I made decisions, and I rolled with it, and I made a lot of bad decisions. I made some good decisions here and there, but it was just so it was January 2024 when we created the leadership team. January, February.
Somewhere in there.
I was sitting on the beach in Mexico, down taste testing our food. I had read Traction like 3 times before that, and I was like, these are all things I need to do. I was like, I'm going to do those when I'm that size. I'm sitting there read Traction, and most of the time when I'm on vacation, I go on vacation for a lot of different reasons. Majority of the time, it comes to a spot that I actually like thinking about business more at those times than any other time. I feel like I can sit there and I can get a very clear picture of everything, that there's no external pressure on. I can sit there and play through so many different scenarios. I love sitting on the beach. I love sitting by a pool.
Trying to decide if you want another margarita or not.
Most of the time it's like before I have a drink, I'll put headphones in and I'll just sit down on the beach and listen to classical music. I'm sitting down there and I was reading Traction. I'm going through and I'm like, I'm not doing any of these things. I'm like, we don't have a leadership side. We don't have core values. We don't have any of this stuff that this talks about. And once we put the leadership side in, I think the early days of leadership side, I put this team in place that I didn't really give much power to. As we progressed, I became much more open-minded to say, hey, I started letting them make decisions and choices on things at first that I knew what the outcome probably was and where they would go. And then they started making decisions on some stuff that I'm like, I really want to butt in, and I think it should be done this way, but I'm like, I'm going to see how this pans out. And then it pans out way better than what I thought. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And then it happens over and over. And there are once in a while, there's things that I do have very strong feelings on. And there's things that I'm like, try it. If it doesn't work, we can reconvene in 7 days and attack it again.
Yeah.
But it's also relaying from that room to everybody else what's happening, that we don't come to the company and say, hey, we sat in a leadership meeting and we got all the perfect answers.
Yeah, right.
We tried that once. It didn't work well.
But it's like we come in, we say, hey, this is what we're trying. This is what change is going to look like. We don't know if this is the right pathway or not. We need your guys' feedback. We want your input to see if this is the best solution to this problem. But now it becomes the whole company's problem. It becomes the whole company is invested in fixing it to where that you're going to get legitimate feedback. But it's wild how many of the times that solution isn't actually my idea at all.
You ever heard the story about when John F. Kennedy went on a tour of NASA? He was just touring and he saw a janitor, sweeping the floor or whatever. He's like, hi, how are you doing? I'm John Kennedy, president, whatever. And what do you do here? He said, sir, I'm just working to put a man on the moon. Like that, and it hit Kennedy at that moment that everyone is bought into this mission. Like this guy, he's not sweeping the floor. He's working to put a man on the moon. That's pretty cool, right? So you think about that. I get goosebumps thinking about it, man. You think about when you permeate the levels of your organization down to the front, maybe it's the most entry level position, and they are just as focused on your big picture mission as the CEO is. Dude, that's pretty magical, right? So you think about that, I started thinking, I was like, yeah, my porter has no idea what our SFE number is. They have no idea what our objectives are. You know what I mean? What if we sat down, hey, man, listen, I want you to know how important it is for you to get these cars cleaned up in time, because here's what we're doing, man. When we can do this, we'll hit these numbers. And if we hit these numbers, and we can hit this, and we do this, and we, like, nobody's taking time to sit down with a porter that washes cars to make him understand why our business decisions at the highest level are, why his job is important to that.
Which
right?
It's something I'm very clear with the leadership side, and I advise them to be very clear with the market or the rest of the company the same way, because that was one thing that I struggled with once I left the car world, was my dad tried to shield Dre and I from what the bigger problems were. So we got to see bits and pieces of it, but then the big problems, you kind of put the shield over for the, I have ideas, I have ways that I want to try things, and they're getting shut down. So I'm looking as my dad just assumes that he thinks all my ideas are bad, all this different stuff, which I didn't have the full scope of what was happening.
The whole picture, yeah.
So it actually created this huge divide between us that ultimately was just because, like, and I look back at it now, I was like, I didn't see the photo. Like, I couldn't see this. I couldn't see on the other side of the curtain. Mm-hmm. So I was making a decision based on this. And if I would have seen this side, I wouldn't even been saying something about doing this.
Right, yeah.
But it's the same thing that sometimes, like, as a company, we'll have a leadership side, and it's like, we have idea X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, I'm not saying that's a bad idea. I'm just saying the timing's not right on that idea. Like, that's something that I'm perfectly fine with doing. Maybe it's just at a different time. This is where we need to be at, and then we can execute. But it's not just being like, no.
Yeah, dumb, stupid idea.
Yeah,
that's the best idea you had today.
Yeah.
Put it back in your head. We're done.
You're done.
Yeah. Bury that one away. Don't bring that one up.
There are stupid questions. Put it back.
Yeah. But E, is that our last one?
In noble, G, genuine.
G, we missed G.
Genuine, yeah. Gotta be. That one just is in itself, right? Just be real.
Yeah.
Right. Be real. Genuine. Also, being real it kind of ties into the trustworthy and stuff. So some of these are tying each other, but genuine also, just what you're talking about, the church people, right? Like, if you're a church person, be a church person, right? Be it Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. That's a genuine person, right? Be who you are all the time, right? Because that's not who you are if it's not who you are, right? If you're not that person all the time. And what the one other thing I've realized too about making some sacrifices of what, as a younger person seems to not be the funner choices, end up in the long run really being the easier choices. Like, it's so much easier to just be genuinely who I am every day, because I don't have to make sure I'm on stage, that I'm saying the right things in front of the right people. Like, I'm being genuine, right? I'm genuine. I just talked to my therapist yesterday, and I say my therapist, the coach, whatever. I like to refer to him as a coach, so I don't feel like I'm messed up. Right? I was talking to him yesterday. I said, hey, I do have one last question before we get off. I said, man, being a Christian, like, language and how I speak is something that I'm still kind of have that prison talk mentality. I drop a ton of F-bombs. I do it in times I use them appropriately, but I feel like I use them in an emphasis manner. Like, the F-bomb is probably, I don't think shit's a bad word, but whatever. The F-bomb is kind of still, there's some scrupulous, you don't just walk around dropping F-bombs in church. And, so but I asked, like, I was like, is that okay? I feel like I'm challenging myself. I don't want to be a hypocrite, man. I hear I'm this good Christian guy, but I'm over here leading sales meetings, telling people, they better effing do something, or you know what I mean? If I'm just in that moment, he's like, man, listen, if you are being responsible with how you're using the word, and it's calculated, and it's not just an emotional reaction, you're flying off the handle and dropping. He's like, no, I don't think there's a problem with it at all. I said, I don't question your integrity of your Christianity because you use a couple of F-bombs for emphasis words every now and again, right? And so that put a lot of ease in my mind, because I was struggling with that genuine piece, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, man, here I am I try not to cuss, and I genuinely think that having good, clean language most of the time is probably a little healthier, right?
Yeah.
But, man, just because I drop an F-bomb every now and again when I emphasize something, it ain't that bad, right? I'm not a bad person.
We were early days of MMG. I really felt like I wanted, like, all the market. I wanted to appeal to everyone. I didn't want to offend anybody. So we were very, I think, I'm not going to say we weren't genuine, but we weren't who we were.
It was a facade.
Well, it was.
Yeah.
We held back online all the time.
Well, you remember I told you I wanted to do this podcast again because I felt like I kind of held back a little bit. Man, this has been so cool. It's been like me and you talking this whole time. That's probably why we're running into like hour 3.
But it's like, my thing too is when it's just so easy and a genuine conversation. It was the same thing when the podcast first started. It was super rigid in the basement.
Yeah.
It was like very questioned out, but it wasn't genuine. And then I remember running into somebody and they're like, well, your podcast is kind of tacky. You guys have drinks on there and sometimes you smoke cigars. And I'm like, how's your podcast doing? And they're like, well, I don't have one. I'm like, that's pretty easy to speak from the fucking bleachers. Right. But yesterday I'm at a speaking event for a chamber. Lee Summit Chamber does like a huge ticket event and stuff. We go and we have these like huge presentations. I'm like, before I get up here and speak, I go, you guys have probably sat through a bunch of free marketing speeches, things like that. I don't want that to be what this is. So I'm like, I have a video to show you first. And Dre at one point, like the middle of the video, like the punchline is when we were talking about like the finances in year 2. Dre's like, Dane looked at me and he goes, I could tell like something. He goes, we're fucked. I look around and this is this like super high production, like documentary style video. And I like look at all these old people and they're like,
I didn't even hear the word the first 4 times I watched the
Did you hear it in there? Thanks,
didn't even see it.
Yeah, so then I'm looking around and it's all these business owners sitting there at this like ticket event. I get up afterwards and I go, I'm not going to apologize for who we are. I go, we run the lane that we run. And I go, we own the audience that we own. I go, if 50% of the audience doesn't like us, I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah.
I go, we're not going to be the most PC people you talk to. But I go, we run with winners. That's what we do. I go, if somebody has bad language, I meet a lot of people that live great lives and are great husbands and fathers and everything else, and they use some cuss words here and there.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say that's a dictating factor of if someone's a good person or not.
No.
So it's like
not. What's really is whether they're real all the time and not hiding behind
genuinely.
that. Genuine.
I thought we were fucked.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no.
Right.
Yeah.
It was genuine. Exactly.
But when you look at that and you look at, I got done with that, and I had so many of these elderly people come up to me afterward. They're like, that's the best speech I've been to in a long time. They're like, you are 100% who you are.
Yeah,
like,
that's awesome.
I'm like, that's what I'm gonna hold that. But I think too many people are so scared to offend people nowadays that based on if your political beliefs are different than someone else's and everything else, that we own the blue collar world. We own this space that no one went after, and it's because everyone never went out and been vocal about. We have so many people that listen to this podcast every week. We have a ton of guys in the construction world that listen to this stuff. We have a ton of guys in the financial world that listen to this. We have the blue collar, we have the white collar, we have all of it. But then there is this like super old demographic that sometimes watches our stuff and they hate it. I'm like, great, I think we'll survive without your business. Like, we're doing just fine.
Yeah, you're probably going to die soon anyway.
It's just being genuine that I tell everyone we're unapologetically ourselves now.
Yeah, for sure, man. Listen, I'm going to give you a little teaser of a video I got coming out. If I ain't your cup of tea, put it down and drink something else. Right? That's the truth of it, right? And the other one with that is if your glass ain't half full, then pour that shit into a smaller glass and shut up. Right? So, So anyway, that's genuine. Good. Yeah. Awesome.
Covered.
You're covered there. E, encouraging. Man, it is what it is. If you're not focused in making people around you better, rising tides raise all ships, right? If you are only focused on making yourself better, and that's what you're going every day to just kick your ass and be the best you can be, and you ain't bringing anybody with you, it's going to fall. It's going to crumble, and it's not going to be supported by anything. If you can raise the water level of everyone around you, you're only going to come up. You don't even have to focus on yourself That's the best part of encouraging people, being so like, again, addicted. I'm infatuated with encouraging people and getting to play a piece in their life, because as the people around me that I get to be involved with come up, I'm just floating right. I'm going, and I don't even have to even think about myself at all, right? So that's what the encouraging is born out of. I love, and then, you know, the other part of it is at a point where it doesn't become about the money anymore, you know. So when I lay my head at night now, it used to be, man, I got my bills paid and I actually got money in the bank still, right? That was like, whoo, that's all, I'm killing it, right? Now I've come to a place in my life where I'm never going to have to worry about that, right? I got my bills paid and I'm always going to have money in the bank, right? So I don't have to worry about that anymore. Now I lay my head at night, whose life did I impact today? Like who did I, what one person DM'd me? What salesperson? I got to talk with 2 people today, right? Who did I get to impact today? This was a big, huge part of my excitement for today was coming here, because I know someone is going to watch this and reach out to me, and I'm going to help somebody, encourage them in their next steps of their life, whether it's business, whether it's addiction, whether it's marital, whatever. I know, and man, there is nothing more. Like, I've gotten big washout checks in the car business. There ain't nothing, no better washout check than when somebody says, hey, man, you know, because of you. I mean, just when you just told me, like, one little thing we said in the podcast, how it's, you know, played a big part in your life. And you're uber successful now, right? And so me knowing, even, I don't care how successful you are, how broke you are, where you are, that I can do something to encourage you to improve where you are in your life today, no better feeling.
And for a long time, I had the misconception that you think just because someone's has the big business, that they have the family, they have all those things, that you can't impact their lives. Anybody can impact anybody's life.
100%.
It doesn't matter where you're standing at on the game board. And that's what I think is, or I know that it has been really cool to watch, that my stories when I drive in the morning, I would say could be, I have such a high volume of people that reach out about that stuff.
Yeah.
The amount of conversations that those start every day is crazy. Like, yeah. But it wasn't like that for 12 months. It wasn't like one day I posted first, my mom was like, hey, yeah, that was cool. I'm like watching back like 10 times that day. I'm like, wow, that sucks. I'm like, did I really post that? I'm like, everyone's going to think I'm an idiot. Like, I can't even speak. I'm using every 2 seconds. And as they've progressed, now I watch them back, and I'm like, I would watch that.
Yeah, that's true. That's cool.
And I was like, I actually had good context in that. Mm-hmm. And that's actually where I critique myself a lot, is doing those, because what that works so much on every single day is compression. Because that thought I have to try to get in 60 seconds is like a 5-minute thought. Like, yeah, that's the hardest part. Most of the time when I have to film it like 5 or 6 times trying to get into the office, it's because I can't figure out how to get it under 59 seconds. And for some reason on the phone, if you hit 59 and you stop it, it's 101.
Oh yeah.
So it cuts off the end.
I'm learning all of it.
But it's just putting those things up and understanding that it takes changing one person here. It takes changing one person here. It takes one person here. It takes one person here. And it all adds up to so much of a larger picture.
Somebody asked me the other day, like, hey, what's your, are you, like, what kind of ministry work or what kind of impact are you looking to have? Are you looking more in a private setting? Like, would you like to work one-on-one with people and help people? Or would you like to, like, be a speaker in front of people? I said, yes. Which one? Yes. I want to do it all. I want to impact whoever I can, however many I can, how often I can. I want to do as much, because Lord knows I did enough bad in my life. I got like 2 lifetimes to make up for. Right? So that's what I want to do. I want to do it in such a way that I can, yeah.
And I think that's just, when you talk about the tides rising, it rises all ships, and I have focused so much on developing people around me, developing a company, developing business owners, that I actually think that probably 50 to 60% of my time now is playing a consultant almost.
Yeah, oh yeah, or doctor,
or
therapist.
It's not even so much I think that part kind of shifted where very much on a client forefront, I was on a call the other night for like 45 minutes with a guy who has a company here in Liberty, and Madison's like, who is that? I was like, it was a referral our way. And she's like, is he going to sign up? I was like, way out of his budget. She's like, you've been on the phone with him forever in there. I go, I know I was walking him through on setting up, doing all online invoicing because he's doing paper invoicing right now, and that's not scalable. Yeah. And then I was showing him how to set up to do surveys where he can get feedback from his current clientele that he has, and then walking him through of how he would execute getting more trucks and then getting staffing to do so. And she's like, that's what you've been in there doing. I was like, yeah. I was like, I think he really took it well. But I know that guy got up the next morning, and that was the most useful conversation he has had probably since the day he started his business. And he has ran his business for 12 years. And he goes, no one's given me this kind of time before. And because at first he's like, well, I'm just kind of old school. I like doing the paper invoices, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, I was the same way. And I go, the only reason I know the answer to this is because I've taken the exact same pathway you've taken. I go, solving this now is going to make your life in the future 1,000 times better. Yeah. I go, what benefit do I have trying to get you to use QuickBooks, bro?
Yeah, right.
I go, I don't own QuickBooks. I go, I have no benefit of what I'm telling you right now. He goes, I guess I really didn't think about that. I go, I just want you to do better.
I own stock options.
Eventually, eventually at some point, he might get to a point where he can actually hire you. But until then.
But it's wild how many times that's happened that we will have somebody come back like 6 months later, like, man, I did what you were talking about, blah, 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 and now I'm at a spot that I can afford you guys.
Yes.
And it's.
Yeah, that's that long game.
It's hedging your future bets, and I think it's fun too, though. Like those River Market, I mean, how many meetings did we take that within 5 minutes we knew 100% that they can afford us? Yeah. It was daily. But it's like we built raving fans, we help people out. And same thing we've done with staffing, same thing we've done with everybody. Move people forward. We dying over there? Oh, we're losing cameras.
Uh-oh. Help. We got a camera
We running that one over there still? Oh, we're still trucking along. All right.
We haven't killed the batteries yet. We're good batteries.
Yeah.
That's it, man.
That's it. We covered them all.
We jumped around a little bit. So spiritual, trustworthy, resilient, open-minded, noble, genuine, encouraging, and relentless. That's it. Stronger leader. So the way I came up with the name, the Stronger Leader, was I sat in bed, so back up for a minute. So about addiction and being addicted. I've adopted this strategy in life that anything worth doing is worth overdoing, right? Yeah. So my doctor's like, we came up with this deal, Stronger. He's like, cool. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to use it to change the world. So I get on, like, literally, I think I could probably show you the order. I woke up in the middle of the night, and I'm like, I got to start with the bracelets. I think the bracelets are cool. 2 o'clock in the morning, I Googled, got on Wristband Pros. I ordered like 500 bracelets. 2 o'clock in the morning, like I'm doing it. It's the first day when I developed the word Stronger, right? And then the teacher, I'm like, I got a website, which I still owe you for, by the way. And I'm like, stronger.com. Strongerleader.com. Nope. Leadstronger.com. Nope. Strongerman. Nope. I'm just going through. I'm like, finally, the Stronger Leader was available. I'm like, that's a perfect name. Glad I came up with it.
It's available.
I love it. Yeah. Again, another one of those like, man, that's a great name. Yeah. Well, because that's what was available. That's how it was born.
Weird thing I do that I own a very large amount of domains.
Yeah. Things you think preemptively, like if you would have bought an iPhone years ago, you'd be a billionaire.
So I just sit there and I think about things like if CNN ever wants to move their podcast anywhere, I own CNN Podcasts, CNN Podcasts. I've CNN Podcasts.
Yeah, you bought it for like 38 cents.
Yeah, I bought all of them. And it'll like every year it'll pop up like, do you want to spend the $70 to buy all these again? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah,
like,
right. Yes.
I told Dane, I'm like, you can find a buyer pretty quick if you just reroute them somewhere else. Possibly to a competitor. Yeah. I'm like, they'll reach out pretty quick trying to buy them.
Yeah.
So what I looked at was when I get online and you start seeing certain companies start moving their podcasts to separate platforms because they hold so much data aside, slows down their main sites.
Oh, yeah.
So they start offloading them to a separate site. I'm like, more people are going to do this. So I started going out and finding like all these big companies. I own a lot of the big companies and their podcast domain.
That's great.
And then I'll go through and like every.
Who's the watermelon farmer that did it?
So there was a story that there was a watermelon farmer in Oklahoma that when the internet was started and they're like, you could buy domains. He opened up a dictionary and just took his life savings, bet the farm on the whole thing, and went through and
Literally.
just with a dictionary and bought every domain. And his wife thought he had absolutely lost his mind. So he never really sold a lot of them. So a lot of your big like Target leases their website for like $1 million a year or something.
Oh, really?
So there's a lot of big companies out there that lease their websites from this guy.
No way.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
I was like a gajillionaire.
That's great.
I don't know if that story's true or something, but
It's
I was
a good
told
story.
it sounds awesome. But I saw it somewhere. I don't know if it was a reputable source, but that's just you have all these different things that I buy domains for things that I think might be valuable in the future, and all the top keywords of Kansas City for marketing, everything. We own all the domains. They all reroute into us. And it's like, I'm sitting there one night, I'm like, why haven't I thought of this? It's on my iPad. I'm like, buy. I'm like, I got a $500 tab for domains, buy. Like, and Madison's like, what are you doing? I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm fine with owning this stuff.
I mean, especially when there's cents, right? A lot of like 99 cents, 50 cents.
I don't know. Some of them they were kind of proud of.
You give them a little bit more.
There's some of them they're like premium ones.
At
I'm
the
like,
subscription side. I'm like, we don't own this many websites.
but
So then the logo. I don't know if you guys can see it on here. So then the logo, obviously, with my Christianity background, I wanted to incorporate a cross. So the strongly, and then I put TC at the bottom for my initials, right? Well, then my son taking an interest, I could see him kind of watching me do my videos and all that. He's like, starts asking questions, and I go, buddy, you want to do this with me? Like, what do I do? I was like, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm doing. But why don't we kind of do this? Just team up with me. Let's do this together. We're leading men to become better men. And I was like, I'll lead the men. You lead the boys. You just kind of spread the message, hand the bracelets out at school to your friends, and let's do that. And so when I went to make the T-shirts, I had the logo made, and I screenshot the logo at Compy's, and I sent it to Andrew, and I said, hey, I want to do this, but then you can mark up pictures on the iPhone. I was like, but do me a favor and have him put like a 2 like this over that. Well, he just kept it. That was my little scribble. He just kept the scribble, right? And so TC2 because Tony Jr., right? So that's how the logo's funny. If I could have had like a video of me working out the logo with ChatGPT, I got in a bad argument with ChatGPT because it was not listening to me at all. I'm like,
when you're doing graphics, it's got a mind of its own. You'd be like, oh, I'm so close. Change this. Wow, that's way different.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, that's not all what I just said. I said leave that and take this, and you added a goat.
Yeah. When you get into the imagery on ChatGPT, it is. Yeah. I have an ad that's running right now. It looks like comic book cover with Dre and I stand there. And I was like so close to that. But on that photo, there's not like a street. Puts us in like dirt where I stand in the dirt in front of the office. I'm like, not really what I wanted. So I was like, I just put that like change where we're standing to concrete, not dirt. It changes the whole photo. There's like helicopters and jets and everything. We're in suits, and I'm like, whoa, we're like Men in Black days, bro. I'm like, how did we get? Where did he get any of that from?
You said you want to be on the streets.
Right. Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah. So that's how it was all born, man. It's just a crazy little homework assignment, from a coach, and like anything I do is I just overdo it and go in full force, and that's one thing nobody's ever gonna accuse me of doing anything half-assed, So man, it's just taken on, and I've gotten so much joy and fulfillment out of it. I try to crank out this content every morning or night or both, and having some fun with it, man. It's fulfilling, It's given me a renewed sense of purpose. I kind of hit a little bit of a rut in my professional career. The car business is the car business, man. You go in, the business is the same, right? My issues, my problems, I fix them. I move on to the next problem. That problem I fix is broke again or back. The proverbial plate spinning, right? I'm spinning plates, right? That's I don't find a ton of fulfillment in the operations, right? I love the car business, don't get me wrong, and I do enjoy doing it. But more for me, it's the people side of it, right? And so how can I impact more people, expand, listen, there's 300 something employees that are underneath I've got enough there that I could apply myself in, but it's also professional, it's business world. I don't want to go around everybody in my text of the toolbox. Hey man, it's your therapy session. I'm here today. Let's talk about your problem, right? I can't really do that. But I think outwardly, publicly, as I continue to expose who I am, my employees also see it, right? And so the doors have been open. One of the young kids from the Jeep store today, who came up to get a used car from our Chevy store, happened to be there, sat with me at the table for 10 or 15 minutes. Like, man, I've been watching a lot of your videos. He's like 19, 20-year-old kid, great kid, man. And he's like, hey, man, and he showed me his phone. He's like, these are all the notes I took from the other podcast I just did. He's like, I took all these notes and, went through with them. I'm like, dude, that's what it's about, right? That's the fulfillment. And so as I've gotten more into this, that inner sense of purpose is renewed, that renewed sense of purpose, having a bigger, and that's why, hey, what do you want to do? You want to help one person or the masses? Yeah. Yes. Yep.
Do it all.
Yeah. So anyway.
Well, as always, it's super easy to chat.
Yeah, man, no kidding.
So, like I said, you're on the journey, and I mean, you're killing it. I like what you're doing. It's cool to watch, and I like seeing people win. Yeah, and that's what you're doing, and you're making a difference out there while you're doing it. So keep it up.
Likewise, man.
There's people watching. There always will be, and
oh yeah,
it's
haters, right?
Exactly.
We had a comment or a video. They called me from one of the stores the other day. Like, hey man, we posted a video on TikTok and we got this pissed off customer that we've been dealing with, kind of a heat case, and he's out there just slandering us. And dude, man, there's a bunch of people commenting on our video, and I'm like, that's awesome. Like, do you know what that does for the algorithm? Yeah. They're like, man, this video's getting like 1 million views. I'm like, yes, that's great. They're like, what are we going to do? I'm like, nothing.
All the people that want to say something negative are always the ones that'll be the first to comment. That as simple as if you want to see a bunch of controversy, go look at our Instagram, TikTok, our taco reviews.
Yeah. Oh, really?
I mean, the amount of comments we get, what do we have? Probably 50, 60 comments on last week's, and it's probably 15 to 20,000 views. But it's like, and that's every week that happens. And then, people are on there like, this gringo doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm like, dude, I am white as they come from Kearney, Missouri. Yes, thank you. But but
I know this is a good taco.
Yeah, like, I'm not going to tell you I'm some taco wizard, but I'm like, I will say I have the largest following for taco reviews around, so if anyone wants to challenge me on that. But it's just funny that no matter what, there's going to be people that are going to hate on whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that's the world we live in. I just look at it as like, when a negative comment comes on there, I feel bad for those people.
Yeah, for sure, right?
Like, the taco review yesterday, I'm like, does that make somebody feel big? Like, they feel big that they have to go after somebody that's successful online, that's doing the thing that they were always been scared to do or whatever it may be, and they're going to take the time out of their day to write. Most of the time, they write some, like, lengthy comments, too.
Yeah, that's great.
And then they sit there and refresh it.
Wait for somebody to respond.
Yeah. I had this one guy on the video that I had of Tony going to state, all his workout, and this guy, I'm like, my idea with that is to like inspire dads to hold their sons accountable and like teach them ways to be good, solid men, right, and all that. Like, I'm trying to inspire people, and this moron leaves a deal. Why is he wearing wrist straps at 10 years old? I'm like, bro, we're talking about a 10-year-old kid that gets up at 5 in the morning and goes to the gym every day. I don't care what he's wearing, man. I don't even care that he's wearing clothes. He's going to the gym every day at 10 years old. Like, think about that. Wrap your head around that. The fact that he's going to the gym. I want to say, where's your kid?
But that's what people, they're going to hyper focus on things. And
but needless to say, that's my most watched video I have in all my videos is that one. So hate on, baby.
Yeah. I tell everybody all the time, when somebody runs for president, 50% of the country hates him, 50% loves him.
It's true.
Every single time. So, like, you want to run for the highest power in this country. If there's a guarantee, it's 50% of the country is going to hate you.
Yeah,
like, and they are going to post
hate you more when you.
They are going to post about you all the time. They are going to, depending on the side, there's a side that will go riot about you. There will be like, it's crazy that most of the time you look at people that go out and have riots and go and protest and do all that. Those aren't successful people. Those aren't people with like jobs. It's people that are collecting welfare. It's people that are on food stamps. It's people that are already not doing well, and they're going to go out and do that stuff.
Right, yeah.
To where it's just the society that we live in, that no matter what you do, there's going to be an audience that doesn't like you. And once you get to a spot that you're okay with that.
Yeah, somebody was telling me early on, you may even been the one, or somebody was like, hey, man, just as you're getting out there, just be careful because you're going to get some pretty mean, hateful people.
You know how many times I get called fat in a week on YouTube and stuff like that by like random people? I'm like, whoa, like, and one dude said like I have fake chains, trucks all rentals. He did say I was beard inept, which I was pretty fucked up. He said you were what? Beard inept. So I can't grow a beard. I know, like that one.
That was a low blow.
That one kind of stung a little bit. I was like, whoa, bro.
Nobody's got friends that can.
Yeah. I got friends with beards. But yeah, it's just wild shit people say online. But
appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing what you do, and keep being good men, you guys. You know, be good husbands and good leaders, good fathers, good to your people. That's this world. The true epidemic of seismic proportions in this world is a lack of men. You know, I think the more of those men we can create, that's more of like one of those root deals. If we can get out into our society and start creating a society full of a bunch of really, really good men, you're going to also have really, really good women that come from that, you know, and it's just a springboard. So I got a passion for this, you know, I got a passion for it. And, you know, I'm not speaking because I'm some great dude, right? I'm speaking because I wasn't a very good man, you know, for many, many years. And so I know firsthand the difference of what it looks like because I was that person, right? And I see now the difference in the impact that I'm making, not just my own home, but the people around me by being a good man, you know, consistently. So you guys help me with that mission, and we'll all be stronger together.
Love it. Keep killing it.
See you in the gym.
Yeah, you're gonna be.
Why
there.
did I look right at you?
It wasn't Ricky that's over there jacked as well. That's crazy.
You can tell Ricky doesn't miss the gym.
Mine's in my house. It's hard to miss. It's on the way.
You can't. There's no excuses. Yeah. So
thank you again for coming on.
Yeah, man.
That's M3 Podcast. Peace. Kill it, bro.
Yeah, man.
That was good, man.
Thanks for the target right
It wasn't a target. It was encouraging, man.
Yeah, that was encouraging.
Now that felt targeted. He looked directly at me.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the M3 Podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Want to learn more? Check us out on Instagram at Moss Marketing Group, on Facebook at Moss Marketing 58, or on our website at mossmarketinggroup.com.